County Schools. Welcome back. All right, that was about a third of the people are happy. The other ones probably prepared too much over the weekend. But we're going to start out. I don't know if y'all saw the PowerPoint that was going, the pictures before, but I want to highlight our children. Children first, that's why we're here. So thank you, Miss Tabitha, for putting that together. Those that came in early enough, you got to see a lot of it. And next, we're going to bring out 4 of our other students. So coming to the stage, Miss Emily Riley from Stone Memorial High School, FFA, Jacob Atkinson, CCHS FFA. Brought your whole family. Trinity McClellan from Stone Memorial High School Criminal Justice Skills USA, and Peyton White from Stone Memorial High School Family Career and Community Leaders of America. So if you will, please stand, salute, and we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance with these great students right here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you guys. I hope y'all have an awesome year. Well, I'd like to start off today just to talk a little bit about some great community people that continue to support the schools. Obviously, this year and as every year, safety is one of our first things we want for our children. Children come first. We want that safe and awesome learning experiences and environment for those kids. And I'd like to thank right now, first of all, the County Commission, the City Council, and all those elected officials that made it possible to put an SRO at every school. So thank you. Now let's celebrate those men and women who are right there next to you every day. So Sheriff Casey Cox. And his crew from the Sheriff's Department, and also Chief Brooks and his crew from City Police. Y'all come on up here. Right on there so we can get everybody on stage. So, safety initiative this year, I met with the sheriff and the chief and their elements several times. I got to go to some of the training they were doing at Stone Elementary. Was that where we were?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Stone Elementary. They were preparing all summer just to be in the schools with us to help us do what we do. Now, we all know that you guys are the front lines of safety. We all know that, correct? Amen. It's in north and south there, please. So you guys, it's imperative that we help these guys out to do their jobs so that we're watching doors, we're watching playgrounds, we're watching, you see something, say something. We have pros on every campus to take care of us and our children. They love our children. And Sheriff and Chief, I can't thank y'all enough. Y'all are amazing. So thank you all so much. Thank y'all. So what this means is you teach every one of your kids to go up and give them a big old hug every time they see you. Because these guys love these kids and they're there for us. So thank you guys very much. So next we have our Teachers of the Year. Principals of the Year, Supervisor of the Year, our words of wisdom. So here we go.
Be flexible. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Prepare your lessons so you can answer any question that you may be asked. Know and remember why you went into education. And most importantly, wear huge shoes.
My name is Christy Van Winkle. I am principal at Martin Elementary. I would like to welcome you back to school. Please remember to stay positive and focus on student growth. We are in the business to educate children, so raise the bar, set high expectations, and build positive relationships with your students and families. I hope each and every one of you has an amazing school year.
Hi, Rachel Wilson here, 8th grade, Stone Elementary. And I guess a few pieces of advice that I have is just to remember, you were chosen for this profession for a reason. Some days you're going to be really good, you're going to laugh. Some days you're going to cry. And just remember that that's okay, and each day is a new day. The other one, we expect our kids to be challenged daily and to learn new things. Don't forget to hold yourself to that challenge as well. And lastly, find yourselves some good work buddies. They're the ones you're going to cry with, laugh with, you're going to need to change bus duty, send those silly school meetings to. Those are going to be the ones who help you grow. I wish you all the best. Have a great year.
Welcome to the 2022-2023 school year. I thought I'd start off my video with some quotes found around CCHS. Don't stop believing. Do or do not. There is no try. As Miley's diary says, life's a climb, but the view is great. Last school year was a climb for all of us, and I hope that all of you at least have one mountaintop moment. As Taylor Swift says, let's shake off last school year and go into this school year as we learned from Friday Night Lights with bright eyes, clear hearts, can't lose. And I hope everyone has a fantastic school year, and always remember, once a Jet, always a Jet.
Let's be on target for a great school year.
Hello, my name is Angela Newman. I'm a teacher at Pineview Elementary. My advice is to always be willing to learn and always be willing to improve. None of us have arrived. None of us knows it all. None of us can do it all and do it all perfectly. So never be ashamed to say, I need to improve in that area. Everyone has something to bring to the table, so expand on what you do well and share it. Then observe, ask questions, and be willing to try new things. I am a composite of every educator I have ever met, observed, or heard. I have learned so much from other educators that have helped me along the way. Also, don't forget the personnel that work around you, our fellow teachers, our special areas teachers, our sports coaches, assistants, bus drivers, custodians, cooks, office personnel, our SOR officers. We all work together as a team, and they may have unique qualities that contribute to that child's growth. If we are all improving and learning, if we are all working together as a team, we can help our students to reach their maximum potential. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Hazel Washington from Homestead Elementary. My advice and encouragement for the 2022-23 school year would be to continue to surround yourself with those positive people and have a very supportive team that work well together. I know my team, shout out Cynthia and Julia, I would not be able to do my job effectively without them. They reassure me, they encourage me, they make me a better teacher every day. And having those people there for me has been one of the biggest blessings of my life.
Progress reports go home tomorrow. Okay, got it. Now, when did you say the faculty meeting is? I'll be there. Hang on, I think I have that paper right here. Just a second. Of course you can borrow that. You know I never throw anything away. Where are my glasses? Has anybody seen my glasses? I love this busy, wonderful school life, and I hope everyone has a fantastic school year.
And shout out to those rockstar colleagues who are amazing friends, who feel like family, who are incredible educators and who make you a better person and a teacher every day.
Do you ever look at your students and start smiling? Not because they did something amazing, just smiling because that's who God blessed you with.
Each day, teachers come to school ready to tackle a job that is critically important, extraordinarily complex, often joyful, and at times heartbreaking. In essence, teachers help others to become their best selves, and I can think of no more important word. Don't be so serious. Have fun.
Some words of encouragement from the upcoming school year would be to just keep learning. Learn what your students are needing from you, learn what your colleagues need from you, and learn what you need for yourself. It's okay to reach out and ask for help. It's okay to accept help from the teacher next door. That's one of the biggest things that through this pandemic I think we've learned. So it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out for that challenging student. It's okay to ask for those things. So for me this year, it was just to learn, keep learning how to continue to enjoy this job, even in the chaos that we've been down, because we're strong and we've overcome this far, and we will keep overcoming for the students that we love so much. Have a great school.
Good morning, my name is Chris Burris, and I'm an agricultural instructor at Swing Memorial High School. My advice is work on building relationships and the power of positive relationships with your students. Work towards building those relationships with students that you really enjoy in class. And definitely work towards building those relationships with students who may be a bit more challenging. Y'all, we have a challenging job. Our job is a hard job on pretty much every day. However, by building those relationships and really understanding our students, we can anticipate their needs, their motivations, and really what makes them tick. I wish you the best in 2022, 2023, and hope for a great and successful school year.
Hello, my name is Lisa Parker, and I teach first grade at Brown Elementary. If I had to give one piece of advice, would be to always ask for help when needed and to learn from your mistakes.
I have a quote by Art Williams. It goes, all you can do is all you can do, but make sure it's all you can do. Have a great school year.
In this video on the last day of school, words of encouragement come easily. Summer is here, but in August, it can be a little tougher. It's busy, sometimes stressful, but also full of new beginnings. I feel so honored to be sitting here among all of you fantastic educators today. I think of the many educators who taught me and molded me into the teacher that I am today. First, my mom, Ellen Carroll, Bonita Coffey, Kim Herring, Bridget Cox, Stephanie Barnes, Shannon Freitag, Kelly Smith, just to name a few. These individuals and so many more made such a lasting impact on me. And in turn, each of us are valuable to our students, and we make a difference in their lives each day that we come to school. I plan to start this year with this in mind. I can make a difference, and I know that you will too. Have a great year.
Hi friends, I just want to jump on here and give everybody some encouraging words before we start our school year. I want to remind you guys not to forget to celebrate every victory that you have this year, no matter how small the victory is or how big the victory is. Celebrate your students' victories, but most importantly, don't forget to celebrate the victories that you have as a teacher. Hope you have a great school year.
Hello, from the hill we call Pleasant. I am Jerry Butcher, Director of Bands and Music Specialist at Pleasant. I hope you've had a restful summer, or as we music specialists or band directors like to call it, the 2-week break before summer band rehearsal and band camps begin. All jokes aside, my words of advice for you this year would be, if you are an experienced or older teacher like me, don't be afraid to try something new in the classroom this year. Even starting in my 22nd year of teaching, I asked myself, can I do something better this year in the profession? So keep learning. Go to grad school while teaching. It's hard, but it's worth it. Or join book club with others in the profession. More than anything, you need to read, read, read. It will keep you on your toes, and you may find out that you should have been doing it all along. If this is your first year as an educator, ask for help. You have many experienced teachers who are always happy to help. Find that one mentor that you can go to and not feel judged. about any questions or issues that may arise. If no one at your school teaches what you do, find a teacher at another school that does. The first year is survival, and we all have a first year. And my hope for you is that it is successful. Finally, be a servant leader. This profession is not about you, but about how you can show support for your students, your colleagues, and all support staff, such as the cafeteria workers, custodians, bus drivers, teachers' assistants, and office workers, as they are the ones that really run the school. Keep caring for your students, even when they can be a pain. And yes, they can all be a pain at least one day out of the school year. Above all, remember what made you fall in love with our profession, and do not allow anyone to take that away. Best of luck this school year.
Well, congratulations to all those teachers of the year, principal of the year, supervisor of the year. There is an award you didn't know you were getting for being the teacher of the year. You're going to be on the Director of Schools Council. You get to meet once a quarter and tell me what I need to do to make life better for the rest of your colleagues. So congratulations. And Central Services is sitting down here going, what just happened? We haven't heard about this. Well, they're finding out. I'm kind of a surprise around each corner. And I lose stuff. Somebody mentioned that in there. Yeah. Where's my computer? I'm walking all over the building. I left it in somebody's office. Who knows? I'm mobile. I love being out. But as you know, one of our big initiatives every year is Children First and Safety Comes First. And we've had so much community support, not just starting from the Sheriff's Department, Police Department, County Mission, City Council, but other concerned citizens in this community that really want to help the schools stay on the cutting edge of being safe and deterring anyone who would think any differently. And today, we also brought in Miss Natalie Hammond. So Miss Natalie Hammond taught 3rd grade at Sandy Hook Elementary for 13 years before becoming the lead teacher in the building. In a morning meeting on December 14, 2012, she heard alarming sounds outside of the main office. She, along with the principal and school psychologist, confronted the unknown. Although wounded multiple times during the attack, Natalie survived her injuries. She now serves as principal in a K-4 elementary school in Connecticut. Since the tragedy, she works with groups around the country to discuss resilience in the face of adversity, the importance of communication and collaboration when developing safety plans, and the necessity for social emotional learning to embed it into our daily practice as educators. So here to help us have a wonderful year, please help me welcome Miss Natalie Hammond.
All right, sound check. Nope. I can put my good voice on now. There was something bad here. Let's see. Just gonna dance for you. How's that? Better? Yeah, there we go. It helps to turn the on button. So good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here. I got to see, Bo was kind enough to bring me around to see the beautiful, beautiful country that you live in here. Saw bluffs and a plateau and just gorgeous. And now I know I'm also surrounded by gorgeous people. So much of what I heard shared there by the teachers and principals and staff members of the year really resonated with me. And I think when I speak today, I think you're going to hear a lot of those connections, a lot of the things that bring me here to you today, and you're speaking them. And it's a matter of us reminding each other and being together and saying, we've got this, we can do this, and doing it together. You heard in my intro, a lot of the work I do is around collaboration. As a school principal, I cannot stand up and do everything myself. It's a partnership, it's working together. So again, thank you for having me here to this beautiful state of Tennessee, this beautiful area, and I'm glad to be here, especially on your first day back. How was everyone's summer? Good? The first thing I always ask my staff when I come back is, did you take time for you? So I'm hoping I'm getting everyone saying yes on that. And I will talk that with my staff constantly, but I also walk it myself. When Bo and I were talking earlier, I make sure at night that there is a time when I turn everything off, because guess what, friends? We can all wait till tomorrow. Making ourselves our best selves each and every day. Yeah, you were right. He didn't want to work for me. There we go. Okay. So I do, if you will join me, I do always start when I speak with a moment of silence. In front of you are the 26 beautiful people who we lost on December 14th, 2012. So if you will all just join me in a moment of silence as we remember not only these 26 beautiful people, but also the hundreds of others that unfortunately are affected by gun violence each and every year, and the school shootings that we see continuing to happen. Please join me. Thank you. Our director, I'm not sure that we're ever going to hear anyone that quiet, and that's a good thing. That was beautiful. So December 14th, 2012 was probably the hardest day in my life, but December 14th is also the best day in my life. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to take you on the journey, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my experience that day in this great little town of Newtown that I worked in. I was hired there in 1999 as a third grade teacher. I started my teaching career in 96. I was in a private school teaching third and then fifth grade. And when I got my job in Newtown, you can see a couple of little pictures here, the one up on the top right. I wanted to wear a sign that said I work in Newtown. It was like the place to work. Super cool town, awesome community, family super supportive of the schools, Board of Education, right in there with us, doing the work with us. So I was proud. And on the top right, you see our little downtown. You see the church steeples, you see that big flagpole. And there was a statement that said, "Meet me at the flagpole," that was underneath. It was like the town motto or the town line that people used. And where that flagpole acted as a stop sign / stop light on a major state road. So there were no lights and no stop signs, but it was a four-way intersection. And so it was kind of the joke, but people really did. They stopped there and they let people go, and it's very sweet, very kind. In this downtown, there's also a little general store, a little red general store where you go in and they have these glass jars of penny candy, and then you can also go to the cooler and get your drinks, and there's sandwiches, a little deli. And there's also a theater. Now, last time I went, I'm not a huge theater goer now that I'm, a little busier with work, but it was $2 to get into the show, and it was typically a movie that may have opened up like 2 or 3 months ago. So, but I could always wait for $2, and then you could go over to the concessions and be like 50 cents for candy. I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome. You'd leave there $5, and you'd be like, "This is the best date night ever." So again, the downtown, just a super, super cute little area. The two pictures on the bottom left, they might be a little hard to see. They look a little grainy today. I apologize. The bottom left is the front entrance of our building, where you see it say Sandy Hook Elementary School. Just to the left of that, where it says Sandy, was our main entrance. We had a vestibule system. We thought we were hot stuff in 2012. We had a buzzing system. We had a little camera, microphone. You had to identify yourself, bring your ID with you. We needed to know that you were coming, and then we would buzz you in. Then you go to the second set of doors, and we buzz you in again. We thought we were all that, and then some. And then on the bottom right, this is the inside of our building. So our building was one big square with kind of an arm of extra buildings rooms off the back. As our population grew, we had to put some portables outside the back. But it all ended up being interconnected. But this was the this was the courtyard. Children would go out here for art class, for writing, for reading time. It's a beautiful little area. And you see the 2x4 set of windows there. I show you this because that's the room that I was in that I'm giving you as a reference so you can have visuals in your mind. I don't know about you guys, but I am a visual person. I need to see and think things through. So I like putting that up there. We were Newtown. And specifically, we were staying at elementary school, and I'll tell you one thing. We said all the time to the boys and girls, don't worry. This will never happen here, but we're going to practice these drills. And we were good soldiers. We did the drills every year. We did our lockdowns. We did our fire drills. And for the lockdowns, I would tell the children, well, you know, there could be a bear, or if someone left the door open, you know, a dog could come in. We lived in the world of it will not happen here. And so if you leave with something today, I ask you to get rid of that statement. We have to prepare ourselves, and we have to be ready. And everything that everyone talked about in the video beforehand, the partnerships, working together, the wonderful thank you we gave to the men and women who help support our schools and the safety. This day was in October-ish. You can see the leaves starting to change over to fall. And this was a Twitter post that Dawn Hochsprung, our principal at the time, posted that morning. It's a great day for a relocation drill. And you can see everyone's perfectly lined up, right? That's pretty, for an elementary, right? That's pretty perfect. All the teachers have their green signs saying, yes, we have everyone, we're good. We thought we were doing everything right. We had practiced everything, including a relocation drill. Now again, for you to put a picture in your mind, in front of our building was a driveway that led down to our main road, Dickinson Drive, and then to Riverside. And at the corner was our fire department. The fire department let us use their parking lot for our relocation drill. Put that in the back of your head. We thought perfectly planned. Here we are. Everyone knew what they were doing. I know, I put some crazy pictures up here, but again, visual person. These 4 pictures are going to be, I'm going to come back to a couple of them later. So that morning, December 14th, I shared with you, was also the best day of my life. December 14th, 2000, I had my daughter. 6 pounds, 8 ounces, blonde hair, blue-eyed, looked just like me. No? Listen. I saw it happen. She really is mine. You'll see a picture later, we look nothing alike, but I promise you she's mine. So that morning, as a 12-year-old, on her birthday, she came bounding down the steps, had her cute little birthday outfit on, ready for school. Well, maybe not so ready for school. She was one of those middle schoolers. Where are my middle school people? Oh, I love you. That's a tricky time. They're trying to find themselves. They're trying to find who they are as people, and she had a tough time with it. She had a tough time. She's like, Mom, I don't know if they like me. I don't know, I feel like they're making fun of me. It was tough. But this particular day, she came downstairs, and it was her birthday, and she said, Mom, what are we doing tonight? I said, well, you know the drill. When it's your birthday, you pick the restaurant, and when you come home from school and I get home from work, we'll go out and have dinner. Your choice. But remind me, on the kitchen counter, I'm gonna leave, I put on the island, I'm gonna leave this Gap bag that your presents are in. Don't look. Don't look yet. Your Gap bag is on the island. We're going to leave it there until we get home. And so we marched on down to the garage and into the car. Now, our driveway was not very long, so I'm not one of those crazy parents who brings their kids everywhere and hovers. But the timing was right, so I would bring her down to the end of the driveway, and when she got on the bus is when I would go to work. So the timing worked out for us. And as we sat there waiting, we were just chit-chatting about the night. And it was a fairly mild December day. It wasn't super cold, it was beautiful, sunny, and we're sitting out down at the end of the driveway and the bus pulls up. I give her a quick squeeze. I say, I can't wait till later. I can't wait till later, we're gonna have a great birthday, and let me know your place when we get home. Can't wait to go out to dinner. And so as she got on the bus, and it does not matter how many times I say this out loud, I will most likely get chills from head to toe when I say this. As she walked on the bus, all I could hear were the students on the bus singing happy birthday to her. My child, who had such uncertainty about being an adolescent, got on the bus that day. And see, it happens from here to toes, it happens. That day, I knew was going to be a great day. I knew we had already started off positive. We had already celebrated her birthday. We already were ready for the night. So I mean, come on, people. It's Friday payday for me, so what do? I go to the deli and get a bacon, egg, and cheese, because that's what we do for 99 cents on a Friday payday when we're in the world of education, right? Does that make sense? So I stopped at the deli. Again, this is a great morning. I'm like, all right, we're right around the holidays. We had super big things happening at the school that particular week. We had our winter concert the night before. We're going to be celebrating that day as well. And so I marched my way onto school. And that's again, the entrance that I showed you before. The parking lot is to the left here. So all the teachers' cars were in this front parking lot. When we walked the children from that evacuation, that relocation drill, the children walked right along that sidewalk, again, like good little soldiers, and down the road to the fire department. You need to be nicer. So again, visual, I'm giving you this floor plan, if you will, of the building. You can see here that big square, the big square of classrooms, and then the courtyard in the middle. And then you can see that little arm of the portables out the back. So I give you little shapes here. We can practice our shapes before we start the school year. The blue rectangle is where the shooter parked his car, so you can have your visual of how things transpired. The X is that beautiful lobby that I was telling you about, the entry, that we had our double door locked access, we had the camera, we had the buzzing system. We're doing everything right. So that's the X. Then you see 3 stars. The star on the left-hand side, remember that 2x4 set of windows that I showed you that was facing into the courtyard? That's where I was that morning. So that morning I walked my way back down here, and then the 2 front stars, the stars on the right, the larger stars, those are the 2 classrooms that were affected that morning. And I give you, again, these visuals so you can kind of play out in your mind where everyone was during this. So it was Friday. And it was, on Friday, we would always have a dance party in the main office. I may not be a great dancer, but I love music and I love dancing. So the principal and the teachers would come in and sign the memo in the morning. They'd read the update and sign off that they were here. And we would have music pretty loud. We'd be dancing in the main office. That was our Friday. And it was gingerbread house making day. So all of our first grade families would be coming in to help support and engage in that activity. As I shared earlier, we had our winter themed concert going on, so that was happening. It was going to be a very bustling building later, but that morning, after I greeted everyone off the bus with Dawn, which was another one of our must-do everyday things, after the children were greeted and we closed and locked the door and started our day, did the pledge, did our messages for the morning, I popped into a couple of classrooms because I knew I needed to do that because at 9:30, I had an IEP meeting in that 2x4 window room. So I knew I had to get back down there for 9:30. So I popped into a couple of classrooms, and as lead teacher, I did not have my own classroom. It was sort of an assistant principalship-ish role. I did a lot of coaching with the teachers, so I was not supervisory in nature. So I had the opportunity to go in and work with teachers, but I also worked with students on effective behavior management, and I worked on schedules, so a little bit of here and there. So as I made my way back down to the main office, all I had with me was my iPad. Because my iPad is where I had the notes for this IEP meeting, as I had been doing a little work with this particular child leading up to this point. So I was also going to be presenting that day. And that's really, I thought in my head, that's really all I need. I don't need all of my other stuff with me. Thank you. You're seeing when I go for it and you're doing it. See? We're good. So again, visual, I have this timeline here for you. I marched my way down, and at 9:32-ish, Dawn Hoxfrom began the meeting. She welcomed everyone to the IEP, and we began introductions around the table. What could have been an hour later, but as you can see was simply minutes, we heard a very loud sound. And it wasn't just one sound. And to this day, I'm convinced I heard some stuff, but I don't know that I heard what it really was. I looked across the table to me and I noticed Dawn and Mary, our school psychologists, who were my other two partners on the crisis team. We were the crisis team, Dawn, Mary, and me. That was it. Okay, so you can tell how I'm now rethinking as I'm after this, how I'm going to change that. We were the crisis team. I saw them stand up with a look of, oh boy, we better go check that out. Out in the lobby that I showed you, we had a bunch of glass art cases that the art teacher would put the little, the little pinch pots, right? The pinch pots and their little figurines. And then the kids would have their little name on the tents. Very cute. And we had some couches out there. And when I first heard the noise, I was like, oh boy, did someone run into one of those? Because it sounded like glass shattering. It sounded like maybe we had the chairs, the metal chairs all stacked up from our previous day's concert for the families. Did those fall over? The metal chairs, did those fall over? Was it something with the pipes banging because it wasn't super cold, but it was December? I did not know what I heard. And I stand to that almost 10 years later. I did not know what I was hearing. So they got up, and I am a little bit of a jokester, sometimes, always. And so they stood up, and again, I'm not knowing what's going on, and I said, well, I'm on the safety committee and the crisis committee too, I better get up and go. And that's when I stood up from my chair. My iPad was in my spot, and I got up and I started leaving the room. As I share with you this next part, I welcome anyone, if at any point, and I should have said this earlier, I apologize, if at any point anything that I'm sharing is too much, I welcome you to stand and take a break. I'm not offended by that. As a speaker, I tell you my story, I am raw, I am real, here I am, but if you need to stand up and step out, please do. So at this point, Dawn and Mary are maybe about 15 feet or so ahead of me. And so I start walking out, and all of our doors at Sandy Hook at the time opened out into the hallway. And in order to lock the doors, you had to go out into the hallway to lock the door. And there was a big window in each of the doors. It had that chicken wiry type stuff, but it was still a huge window that you could see into all the classrooms. So as I opened the door to the outside, that's when my day changed forever. My life changed forever. And that's when I felt on my left side warmth and burning and stinging. And I don't know how my brain is wired. I've not had it assessed, and I think we'll not do that. I quickly said, Natalie, you need to drop down to the ground and you need to play dead. And that is exactly what I did. For what? If you told me that lasted an hour, I would have said, yep, that was an hour. And if you said that was 35 seconds, I'd be like, all right, it was 35 seconds. I have no idea how much time went by as the gunfire continued. There was then a pause, and it was quiet. While I was laying on the ground, I was hit several more times, and we're not sure if it was direct or if it was ricocheted. When I heard it silent for just a second, I was laying on my left side, and I opened my right eye, and I looked down the hall, and I no longer saw the shooter there. They estimated he was about 15 to 20 feet from me when this all happened. Turns out, when there was this lull, he went into the main office to check things out. My secretary sat huddled under her desk and saw him through the little hole that carries the wires from her computer. That's how she saw him. He did not see her. My head secretary, who knew everybody's blood type, birthday, family, address, what happened the night before in the home, secretary was home with pneumonia. So this was my clerk. This was my other secretary who was there. My head custodian for the day, out. So we had our night custodian in. Loveliest man in the world. When I heard that lull and I saw that the shooter was not standing facing me any longer, I crawled my way back into that room. I don't know why my body and brain told me to do that, but that's what I did. And when I got in there, I very matter-of-factly said, Dawn and Mary are gone, and I had been shot. And I lay on my left side and held the door closed with my right hand. Because remember, we could only lock them by going out into the hallway and locking them. So I thought my super strong right arm would be able to just ward off anything and hold it closed. And so again, I felt like we were in there for hours. The shooting continued. There were 154 rounds fired in this short span of time. All the while, as I showed you again, that visual, that map that I showed you, across the hall from where we were. The IEP that was happening, the parent who was in there, she was one of the many 911 calls that morning. Her daughter, she had triplets in the 2nd grade that year. Triplets. One of them was right next door to us. Not across the hall, but right next door. So you can imagine her. So I'm sitting there telling her, you need to calm down and quiet down. We need to. So just got on my pre-principal shoes here. I was like, we need to be quiet. We need to. So everyone was against the wall facing the hallway. And then I had a teacher behind a swivel chair closer to the 2x4 windows. It felt like forever. And then minutes later, what felt like hours, we had our state troopers arrive. And one of the paramedics came in, who I remained friends with all these years. And this was the one time, because I kept saying throughout these 4 or 5 minutes, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm not dying today. Today's my daughter's birthday. I'm not leaving the earth today. Today is not my day. And when he came in, I can't even tell you the feeling of relief seeing, which is why I bow to these people. I love you. The work that they do each and every day. And he said to me, he checked me out, he quickly wrapped me and said, I'll be back. For him, that was the hardest line he has ever had to say in his career. And for me, the best thing I had ever heard. So as I continue talking, you'll hear me come back to this line of everyone handles things differently. And we are many people in here together. There are not 2 of us who are going to handle something the same exact way, and recognizing that. And I started recognizing that very quickly. I had a mother who was out of her mind, sobbing uncontrollably. And then I had 2 staff members laying on my right side, rubbing me and talking to me and calming me and, working with me. Again, even within this tiny little room that we had together, we were all, in that moment, handling things differently. Here's that front lobby. Can you see behind where the glass is shattered? It's very hard to see, but up on the exterior wall is our little buzzing system. Those were the doors to get in the building. The shooter had other plans. What I had heard was in fact glass, but it was him firing through this window in order to get in a different way. Because he knew our doors were locked. We had all exterior doors locked all day long, no questions asked. There was no propping. We thought we were ahead of the game. So this is our school lobby. To the left of this are all the art cases that I was sharing with you. Just to the left of these little couches here, where all the kids' art was displayed. So when he came back in, Bill, again, so grateful to see him still. The adrenaline is through the roof. Everything that I saw and experienced and heard was very gray. And you're like, gray, what does she mean? I just looked at things and was like, oh, that happened. Oh. But there was no, I think the adrenaline overtook me. There was no strong emotion in the moment. I didn't know what to think. I was at Stevenson Elementary School as a lead teacher. I was just dancing in the hallway. It was my daughter's birthday. There was such a fog. It was so vague what was really happening, and everything looked very factual to me. And so as they wheeled me out, my reason for, let's see if this is going to work. It doesn't want to work for me today. But in between, that's fine, in between, so where the crew is taking a look at something, you see the shooter's car. Remember that big X that I showed you. That blue chair just to the left of the brick wall. It's a little hard to see on here, but that's the chair that they ended up getting me out to the police car in. I could not stand. I had been injured in multiple areas on my left side. I definitely could not stand up, and I certainly couldn't walk. And as they wheeled me out, I had gentlemen around me with guns drawn as we went out, because they still didn't know, was there only one shooter? Were there multiple? So they got me out here, they put me in a police car, and as I got into the police car, I wasn't fully wrapped, and I got a little bit of blood on the computer, and so what did I do? I apologized. I apologized to him. I'm so sorry. I just got your computer dirty. They had the computer in the middle. And then we went what felt like 150 miles an hour from this spot, right where those two are standing, wherever that chair is, down to, where do you think we went? The fire department. And at the fire department, where remember all my little children and teachers standing so beautifully with the green signs, all filled with emergency vehicles, ambulances lined up, and I'm thinking, wait, hold on a second. It felt like it was hours, but there's also no, it's still morning. What's going on? Things had happened so quickly that that entire parking lot was packed, and the driveway leading to the building, both sides of the road with people parallel parked. So we were literally going 100 in between the two. Now it was like a 1.5 lane, or it was just a driveway. Now we had cars on both, and the policeman just went, whoa. Oh. So they got me to the ambulance, they put me on a gurney, and at this point, I'm looking around, I'm seeing some of my staff members. I look over, I see a mom holding a child. She looked as if she had paint splattered on her. She was the one survivor of one of the classrooms. All of her classmates' lives were taken that morning. She had the same brain as I did that morning. She told her mom, and she told investigators after. I just laid in the middle and played dead. First grade. I'm in the gurney, and they bring a child in. I realized very quickly he was one of our first graders as well. They looked at me and said, "Natalie, we have to move you." So they put me, I'm laying on the gurney thinking, okay, we're going to the hospital. And then they put me in the little, the little cutout where the paramedic usually sits, and the gurney's next to it. And they put me there. They said, so I'm talking to the little boy. He was not conscious at the time. And then they said, we actually need to move you to the front. I'm like, dude, you're gonna move me to the passenger seat, or am I gonna get in the driver's seat? Because at this point, I wanted to get in the driver's seat and press on the gas like you wouldn't believe. But no, I had to sit in the passenger seat. And I looked down at my foot and I said, oh, I didn't know I had been shot in the foot as well. The top of my shoe had flowered out. It looked like a flower on the top of my shoe. I had no idea that had happened. So when people always say, do you mind me asking that? Like, what did it feel like? I felt the burning and stinging at the beginning. I did not feel anything past that until my recovery. So we go to the hospital, and I think the next one is Stanley Hospital. Yeah, okay. So we go to the hospital, and unfortunately, the beautiful soul in the back did not make it. And as they put me back on a gurney to bring me into the hospital hallways were lined with doctors and nurses, and I remember specifically the CEO of the hospital right at the beginning, sort of men and women in suits and professional wear, and then you had everyone in scrubs. And I just looked at them and I said, you need to take care of my people. I was the only person to make it to the hospital. As we got into the emergency room, still I had no concept of what had gone on. I knew what happened with Don and Mary, I knew what happened to me, and I know what happened to the little boy in the ambulance. Other than that, I had no concept of the magnitude of this day. And so I was in the emergency room, wonderful, wonderful nurse by my side, and I said, I haven't even been able to talk to anyone. She goes, well, you can call. I said, I don't have my phone. Okay, well, do you have anything? No, I don't have my lanyard. Okay, so I show you this picture because you better believe that when I leave my office now, and it's not very attractive looking people, but I have a walkie here, or a phone here. You know, I've got the lanyard on. Anything. My phone is always on me. My lanyard's always on me. I never take it off. I have my master key on that lanyard, and I have my walkie-talkie with me at all times. I felt so helpless sitting in this emergency room. I had nothing with me. I remember back in the room that I left was just my laptop or my iPad propped up. So that's why I show you this, because I don't leave without it. And so we're at the hospital. The nurse gives me her cell phone. And I kept trying to call anyone in my family, anyone. Nothing. All the lines were totally tied up. Every single line, I couldn't get through. There's nothing. Probably 15, 20 minutes later, I look at the clock and it says 10:15, 10:20-ish. I'm like, oh, that clock's wrong. Remember my timeline. The clock wasn't wrong at all. But for me at this point, I thought a lifetime had gone on, and it was only about 10:15, 10:20. The nurse finally keeps giving me her phone back, and I finally get in touch with my mom. My mom was the first person I was able to connect with. And the minute I heard her voice was the first time I got choked up. And I was very matter of fact with her. She's now 77. She goes on her little bicycle every day. She's braving the most challenging hills, no helmet, tough cookie. But I said, Mom, I'm at the hospital. I've been shot. She goes, okay, we'll be there. It was just very, no tears, no just, got it. And I'll share with you later too, that what she did with my daughter is just, it's comical, but when you meet her, you're like, yep, that's Rita Green for you. So they ended up coming to the hospital. And I show you the hospital because this is where I think my light bulb started going off. In my week of recovery at the hospital, I met some unbelievable people. I had doctors and nurses taking care of me that if I could clone them, I would. Amazing human beings. And I felt so lucky and so safe. They had, when I arrived there were snipers on the roof, because still, this was unimaginable. So they didn't know what else was going on in the area. They had snipers on the roof. Anyone who came to visit me, we had a special passcode and password. They had to answer some questions to get in. It was really, really secure. And on floor 7, the floor that I spent most of my week on, I met Michelle and her team. And they were, those of you who've been in the hospital know, you're pretty vulnerable there. And I kept thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to get through this? I still couldn't conceptualize. No one would tell me what happened. I had to finally turn the news on one day to see, and I'm like, wait, 2026, yeah, Natalie, with this, why do we need to want to tell you? I said, I need to know. I'm a leader in that building. The other 2 leaders are gone. I need to know. That's my building. Floor 7 on my day of discharge gave me a card. And this is where my true journey began. I opened the card, and it was a thank you card. And I'm like, there's something wrong with this, because I need to be giving you a card, and you need flowers, and I need to feed you, and you need to have a party because you're amazing. In the card, they thanked me for my strength, grit, resilience, and positivity through the unimaginable. And it was then and there I knew I had a job to do. I knew during my time at the hospital, when I received my acceptance letter to Sacred Heart University's administration program, I knew that my journey was just beginning. I knew the work I was already doing was work I loved doing. And I also knew I was saved that day so that I could continue doing that work. And so this is where when I start talking with you today, you'll hear me come back. I do a lot of circling with relationships and people. And when you were doing your videos this morning, my head was nodding like a bobblehead over there. Yes, we need each other. We need to do this together. Okay, back over here for a second. I'm an elementary person, so I apologize. This is just part of my game. I encourage. When there are challenges in front of me, when I feel unstable, like I might fall, and I think about turning back or giving up, when my mind tells me I can't, I look inside myself and find the strength that lives deep down and tell my mind, yes, I can. I have faith in what's possible, I accept the challenge, and keep on going. I move ahead, one breath at a time. I act with bravery. I encourage. I can trust what my gut is telling me. I believe in myself. I can feel scared but still carry on. I persevere. I can tumble and still get up again. I am resilient. I can lean on those around me. I am not afraid to ask for support. We heard that this morning. I can encourage another when there is doubt. I am uplifting. I can know there is no shame in sharing. I tell my story. I can step in when others are struggling. I know how to help. I can be the one to clear the way for someone else. I am an example. When I feel uncertain and start to lose my balance, I find my center and gather my strength. I know what I am. I am courage. And I can keep going. We all can keep going. We are strong. We are capable. We are important. We are courage. And we are triumphant. Now, if that book doesn't talk about you guys, I don't know what does. We think about the years that we've been through. And some of those words, hopefully they resonated with you, and hopefully you heard them from your colleagues this morning. So we talk about the inner strength, right? I remember before I was like, I don't know what told me to lay down the ground. I don't know what told me to do this. I do believe there is in each and every one of us a level of resiliency that we might not have tapped into because we might not have had to, but it's there. And I met Frank DeAngelis, who is the now retired principal of Columbine High School. He was one of the first individuals who I met after the shooting. He was an awesome support system. And he said, Natalie, it comes from within. But the good thing to know is that you're part of a club that no one wants to belong to. And I said, well, that doesn't sound so promising, Frank. He's like, well, we're all here together. We've all been through stuff, and sometimes you'll talk to people about things and they might not get it, but we get it. We understand we're in that club that no one wants to belong to. So think of those people around you, whether they're your colleagues in the cafeteria or at the bus yard or in the staff room while you're having lunch. We do not know how other people are built and wired and what they're coming with. Recognizing and understanding that without being judgmental and critical and, well, that's not how I do it. So really thinking about other people. Oh, there's Rita. Yeah, there's Rita and George. There's my parents. Again, I'm sorry if it's grainy. It's grainy from where I am, hopefully you can see it better. But she is a tough little cookie. As she picked up Kayla that afternoon, my daughter, she went to the middle school. The middle school, we were a town over from Sandy Hook where we lived. The town knew what was going on. I don't know if they knew about me specifically yet, but I do believe they did. And my mom went in and they had a quick meeting with the principal and brought Kayla into the car. The only thing she said to Kayla was, your mom's been injured, she's in the hospital, we're going to see her, she's gonna be fine. That was it. That was it. And it worked. It worked. It allowed my daughter to know that I was in good hands, not to cause over worry. It worked. Never underestimate the power of a four-legged friend. Cat or dog. No, I'm not judgmental. This man, I was telling Bo, I just lost him last month. He was my world. So never underestimate that. He knew when mommy came home from the hospital, he said, Oh, don't go on her left side. Came right around, he would just sit on my right side. Good little man. Thinking of the strong, supportive relationships. As I sent my mom to get Kayla, I said, Mom, I was on my way into surgery, and I said, Mom, when you pick up Kayla, bring her home, let her get freshened up. And if you don't mind, can you grab the blue Gap bag on the kitchen island on your way back? We will most certainly be celebrating a birthday in this hospital, and my recovery is on when I come out of surgery tonight. The relationships that I had built in that home that I was in for only a week, the relationships that I have with those around me, this is starting me on that journey where I just knew there was something else. I knew I had a purpose. There was something else I had to do. And I knew I got that acceptance letter, so what did I do when I got home? I called Sacred Heart. I'm like, hey Tara, it's Natalie. Natalie Hammond, how you doing? So, got a little bump in the road here. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to start classes in a couple weeks. I told her this story, and she said, Natalie, you can start in the summer session, that's okay. And so that's what I did. I had my plan in place. I went back for my administrative program, started that July, and finished in 1 year to the day. Because I knew this has to happen, and it has to happen quickly. It is my job to be in a building, and I can't be at Sandy Hook now because I am recovering. But I know that I need to be leading a building. I need to be part of this process, part of this work that we need to continue to improve upon. And so I hold very close to me this piece of making sure the relationships that I build with people are strong, positive, honest, and hopefully Bo can tell you, a lot of laughter, right? Gotta do that. She looks just like me, doesn't she? Not really, but she really is my daughter. The other thing that I came to find was, as people kept bringing, the ziti, the baked ziti, and the macaroni and cheese, and the Italian garlic bread, and the more ziti, and the more macaroni and cheese. Listen, if you're doing meal train for people, I highly recommend throwing salad in there every once in a while. Just a thought. I realized very quickly that I was not doing anything for me. And so another thing that I tell my staff, and I tell you, that I hope you are doing, you can only be your best self if you become your best self, and if you take care of that best self. It's always funny, and I don't know if they even say it anymore. Now it's like, take off your mask before you put your other mask on the airplane. They say that instead of take care of your kid. But they're always like, put the mask on the person, someone you're taking care of first. I'm like, that's ridiculous. No, you're not going to do that. You're going to take care of yourself and then put it on. So they'll always say, put your mask on before assisting others, because you got to breathe to help somebody else, right? Does that make sense? So when we talk about taking care of ourselves, I will talk it and I walk it. It's so important. We have been in whatever role we play in the school district, from the SRO to the building leaders to the custodial staff to the bus drivers, the cafeteria, teachers, paraeducators, special ed, you name it, service providers. We have been burnt these past couple of years. It is exhausting. And if you don't do this and find how you're going to get there for you, you're not going to be any good for those kids or those humans who you work with. So Peloton has been my thing. That's worked for me. In there I have found meditation. I do the bike, I do the strength, I occasionally run, although I don't enjoy that. But I have found that that's my thing. And I make sure, and I'm telling Bo this, I make sure every single day, there's not a day that goes by I don't do something for me. And even if my something is a 20-minute meditation because that day was the most harried day I've had thus far, I know that I have to take care of my mind and my body so that when I get up the next morning, I'm my same best self that I can be for everyone else around me. So think about what you're doing. Remember earlier my line, everybody handles it differently? Same here. When we were recovering after Sandy Hook, there were teachers who joined knitting clubs. That wasn't for me. There were teachers who did yoga classes. That's too slow for me. I need action. I need to run around. There were teachers who said, I just want to sit in a room with my friend and cry. That's what they needed. So again, when we think about the one-size-fits-all that we often put out to our students, think about that. They're not all needing the same education, the same methods to get to the end product as one another. Think about how we're meeting their needs. Think about how we're meeting our teachers' needs in the building. How do you use your staff meeting time? How do you use your team meeting time? Is it beneficial for all parties involved, or is it helping one? Just things to think about as you embark on this brand new year. December 14th, 2000, though. Come back to that date. All right, so another piece on mine. I'm like, but I'm sitting here talking to all the investigators who I'm still super close with. One of the state troopers and I, we were just talking the other day, as a matter of fact. He's now retired. And he's like, so wait a minute. You couldn't lock the doors without going into the hallway? I'm like, no. So wait a minute. He kept asking these questions. I'm like, no, that's just how we did it. So this gave me, again, this charge to rethink school safety. I'm in an elementary school. I don't want my children in that school or my staff in that school to feel like they're in prison. That's the last thing I want. But it needs to be safe and sound and secure. And part of it, I heard someone, I think your director said this morning, say something. I have opened the door up for my staff to say, Natalie, I don't mean to bug you, but I saw a pickup truck driving back and forth along 3 Mile Course today. It stopped a couple times. I didn't, great. Thank you. Thank you for telling me. And that's when I get in touch with my dear friends downtown, and we partner together. Having that open, honest, trusting relationship where we can feel comfortable and safe to say, this doesn't feel right to me in this moment, because you might be onto something. When you're looking at a child and saying, this doesn't feel right, something's off, I need support. We have our school counselors, we have our social workers, we have our school psychologists. You have an unbelievable safety support team here. Reach out. That was said on the video today too. Ask. Work together. Ask if you have questions. So when we sat and we started thinking about these things, we really took a look at what are the main pillars to help do all this support work. It can't be all the principal or all your director of schools. How do we get everyone together? How do we start this process? And so some of the things that I've really focused on during my recovery, which I think will be a lifetime recovery because it's still work I'm going to have to do and think about, health and wellness, culture, climate, and community, and then the emergency management. The work that I'm doing with the local law enforcement, fire, Board of Ed members, the families. It's not just, this is my school and I'm going to keep it safe and I don't need anyone's help. I need help. And we need to talk about things because their perspective is going to be different than mine. They might have a perspective and then I say, ooh, let's think about that when we have 4-year-olds walking in the hall during that time. They might have a different perspective and I say, wow, I hadn't even thought of that. That's a great idea. And vice versa. So some of the things I started thinking about, again, and I am so, when Bo told me who was going to be here today, I might have had a small party. The fact that everyone who has any impact on any human being in this school district is here today is awesome. Every single person in here has to be part of the process, the plan, and know what's going on. Can't have any one of you walking in and saying, oh, I didn't know I had to do that, or I didn't know that was part of the safety plan. Making sure all individuals are part of the process. The conversation. I'm not going to hand you a safety booklet and say, read this. This is about our school safety. It needs to be conversations and it needs to be every single person. Every one of you in here has an impact on a child or another person every single day of your life. We do know that, right? So you have to be part of the process and the plan as well. strengthening that protocol. We were aware, we were prepared. We were like, yeah, we did our drills, but we weren't aware. We had this sense of denial in Newtown that it won't happen here, we're good. We're just checking the boxes off and sending our final tally of which safety drills we did to the state in June. That's what we did. Making sure we are aware, we are prepared. And then most importantly, what I will talk about today is the community piece. Making sure that we are meeting all people's needs. So part of the process that we started with, remember I told you earlier the crisis team, Dawn, Mary, Natalie, did not make it in the hospital for a week. Who was there supporting our staff? No one. They were there supporting each other, but we did not have a plan in place to strengthen and build upon that team, because we didn't know we had to. So building upon that team, bringing in your professionals from your community, bringing in the community members, board members, having, again, there's so many different groups in here today, having individuals from those various groups so that all groups are represented and heard and valued. So this was something we really took time to rethink, and not just, listen to my building, I got it, we're gonna do a fire drill, check the box, we're done. Taking time to assess what you're doing. Again, we were all the way over here, we were in denial. Not here, not gonna happen here. False insecurity, yep, we're good, we got this. But being in this middle, being actively aware. Again, none of us can go to sleep at night and say, no, I'm good, I'm safe everywhere I go in this country, in this world, I'm good. We have to be aware and we have to be prepared. So what are you doing in here with your district level team? What are you doing within your smaller school team to help support that work? And acting on it. So another big thing that I've been working on throughout my tenure is the first district after Sandy Hook. So I ended up then becoming a principal, and I went to another district. I said, I think this is good for me. I have a lot to bring, and also still a lot to learn. And I knew Sandy Hook Sandy Hook and Newtown took years to really work through things, and still close to so many of them, which is so wonderful. But I also knew that I needed to strengthen myself by being around others, including my Sandy Hook group. So I had my Sandy Hook group, and then I had my new building that I was in. And I went in the building and I said, so what do you do? Talk me through your lockdown drill. What do we call it? Well, I don't know, we just kind of put on the alarm and then the kids do it. And I said, okay, but what are we identifying? Well, the high school calls it this, and the middle school calls it this, and the elementary schools call it this. I'm like, whoa, back up. So again, we came together and we started talking about how to have common language, which you'll hear me reference several times. Knowing what these, not just that we're doing drills, but what is the language we're using so people know what to follow. Not having something at the high school that's different than what our 5-year-olds and 4-year-olds are hearing at the elementary level. Keeping it consistent across the board. And then an audit, because if you do not do this part, and when you laugh at this, I'm going to know that you're doing it just like I did for so many years. When you have 4 drills in June, right? It's like, or actually you guys are in summer already. In May, you're like, oh, the last day of school's in 2 weeks, we still have 4 drills. I haven't done that in a long time, but it used to be where, oh my gosh, we've only done 6 fire drills, we still have 4 more to do. And then every week for the last 4 weeks of school, there's a drill. So I've been there, I've done it, but I had to rethink, how am I doing this school safety thing? And it has to be, you have to have a plan in place, and yes, you're gonna have your rainy days, your days you can't do certain things, but having more minor adjustments within, and this is where you get those teams on board. Every single drill that I do, I have my officials come in, my law enforcement, I have the fire come in, because then after we sit and we debrief. I wasn't trained to do these things. They were in their respective areas, so let's come together. What did you see? What do we need to fix? How did this work? Oh, that door was open? I'll need to check on that. Oh, that fire door didn't close when the alarm went off? All right, let's call the company. It's all of us sitting together. and really planning it out, testing, checking, measuring, and having a plan in place. Another thing that I thought about, when we were evacuating that day, were all children's needs met? We had a program in our building at the time where we had some nonverbal friends. We had friends who had an incredible sensitivity to sound. Do we have plans in place for those friends? Do we have a quick grab it and go bag for not only our friends, but each classroom or each room that you're in? Do you have those things set up and in place so that a child who might be using a walker or a wheelchair or crutches has the ability to quickly, effectively, and safely get out of the building? Do you have running plans that are maybe not necessarily part of the IEP, but part of that conversation and process while you have the whole team in place? Are there modifications and accommodations for some of our friends? And have we looked at that? Oftentimes, again, our safety drills are a little one-size-fit-all-ish, and we do them and everyone complies, but are we doing it in the best and safest way? So just having that opportunity to rethink and thinking about, again, that crisis response team. For me, I've made that team huge, but it's also my job to then, when we do, some drills are sometimes, they elicit a sense of fear. And so I need to check in with my people too. Or if we're responding to a child in crisis, I need to make sure to then go back to that team and say, how are you doing? Do you need a break? Because again, I go back to, we are only our best selves if we take care of our best selves. Making sure you're varying those scenarios. Don't always go out the same exact exit. Block something off. Block an exit door. Nope, can't go out that way. Nope, this whole wing is closed. Thinking about those scenarios and how your buildings and your organizations are set up. To rethink school safety. And again, I come back to it. I'm so thrilled to pieces that each and every one of you are in here today who play a role somehow in this beautiful district. There needs to be common language so that if you, as a building principal, are talking to a paraeducator in another school, that they know exactly what you're talking about, that there's a common language among the buildings within the district. I have these with me. I was going to put them up, but I did not. I have these with me because everyone always says, well, they're so little. They're so little. They're too young to learn how to do this. They're too small to understand. No, they're not. They're not. And so Deputy Becky Coyle is a retired SRO herself. And so she said, I'm going to take my time and be an author for a little bit. And so she came up with a couple of texts that are incredibly age appropriate and a little bit silly, quite frankly. But it allows you to start that conversation with our youngest learners. I know you have preschool in this district. It is okay to talk to them about how we are safe and how we look out for one another and how we execute plans with fidelity. It's okay to bring these books into the classroom. So I do have them with me if you want to take a peek at them before you go today. Oh, the big word, right? I was at a conference recently and I did questions and answers at the end and someone said, so Natalie, tell us, when do you do SEL? And the people up on the, we were on a panel, people up looked at me and I said, I got this. It's not when you do it, it's how you do it, and it's every single breath that you take. That's my opinion on SEL. If you are making sure that you are taking care of yourself, you are making sure that you are taking care of and are partnering in a positive, bright, effective way with those around you, and you are watching those children. I heard so many of those videos earlier, loving the children, no matter what they bring to the table, because we don't know what they're coming in with. We don't know their adverse childhood experiences that they're coming in with. Making sure that we are meeting them where we at and not being super heavy disciplinarians, gotcha people, but come on out here, let's talk. That's what I'm noticing today. What can I do for you? Is there any way I can help? Having real conversations with these children. No child wakes up, nor do we, and say, we are going to make our teachers' lives living today. None of them do. No one wakes up that way. So how are we meeting their needs? What are we doing with and for them? And again, at the elementary level, I could say this, but I know at the high school level too. Are you sitting, are the tables, are the desks all facing front? Or are you sitting in a more of a Socratic circle together? Are the children able to take risks within the classroom without being laughed at? If so, you're creating that community. And at the elementary level, having this opportunity to greet one another in the morning, we also do check-ins. You can go to the next one, so I'll show the check-ins. Oh, it's thinking about those relationships that you're building as you're creating the classroom. I had this past school year a very challenging classroom. And the teacher at the beginning of the year said, Natalie, I can't start my units of study yet. And I said, talk to me. She said, they're just not there yet. They're not ready. They're not ready to hear and listen to one another. They're not ready. They're not showing respect. And here's what I'm doing. She had a beautiful list of things she was doing. I said, so what's the problem? Well, I didn't want you to get upset because I wasn't starting the units yet. I said, you can't start teaching the students before they're ready. You can't start, okay, let's do multiplication. We're gonna go in and we're gonna dig deep and find the connections in this literature. You can't do that until you have them. And she developed the most amazing community this year because she waited until her friends in that classroom were ready to learn so they could be their best learners, their best selves. And she uses that line quite often. She said, I woke up today and I'm going to be my best self and I'm going to ask for you to share and be your best self as well. So again, thinking about that culture, that positive climate, and we are all going to come to work each day and there's going to be something on our shoulder. Leave it behind. Leave it behind. Our little friends don't need it and we, for each other, don't need it. Leave it behind. Talk it over with your loved ones off school hours. I talk about the relationships so much. One of the things that I did with my staff at the end of the school year, and I said, I'm putting this in your hat right now so that when we come back to school, we're going to revisit it. What are the sparks? So at the school level, at the cafeteria level, at the bus yard level, what are the sparks of the people who you're with? When I say sparks, the interests. So for me, I love my kitchen. I love baking. I love cooking. When I bake, I love bringing huge platters of cookies to my staff on staff days or on PD days. That's my thing. It's part of my therapy, and I love giving. That's a spark for me. I had another teacher say she's a runner, so running is a spark for her. Many of my teachers said family. A lot of my teachers are younger. They have little children. Family was a spark for them. So when you are in your environment working with your colleagues, what are their sparks? Get to know people. Connect. Just as I say to the students, you don't have to be best friends, but you need to get along and be friendly. So open up ourselves to one another, recognizing the sparks, and making sure that every single child within your organization has an adult. Making sure that your children, if when asked, say, oh yeah, Miss Hammond, she's my go-to person. I had a child this year say, well, when I first went down to her, I thought I was going to get in trouble because she was the principal. And now that my room is sometimes a room where they just come and say, I need to talk something out with you because I've opened up the door to that. And I welcome you and invite you to do that as well. Again, the consistency, I told you earlier, you're going to hear me keep looping back around. I don't care what resource you use when we talk about social emotional learning, but it's consistency, it's language, and it's talking the talk and walking the walk. We can't tell our children to be super respectful and kind if we're going to be a little snarky and sarcastic and not so kind to them. So thinking about that language we're using and those relationships we're building, again, it doesn't matter what resource and how you're doing it. Or when you're doing it, it's how you're doing it. And it's every day, all day. It's the minute you walk in that door, to the minute you get in your car, and then you can go, bah, and call anyone in your family. But really holding it together for these relationships, because with these positive relationships, we feel safer. And in the work that we're doing. If I worked around grumpy people all day, I'd be like on eggshells and super uncomfortable. And when you're super uncomfortable, you're not feeling good about the work you're doing. When you're not feeling about the good work you're doing, you're not feeling effective and safe. So changing that mindset and really setting the stage, and this is a perfect time for us all to do that as we start off the new school year together. Clean slate, going in ready, positive all the way. Some of the things in the classroom that we have worked on, again, this was part of me pushing this out, and now it's a constant. But at the beginning, when I was rethinking, why am I here, what do I need to do, part of it was, we need to start building that resiliency. Not everyone is born with the same exact resiliency, but building it. And how do we do that? In the book that I read, it's you get up and you dust your pants off, and we've got this. You're not there yet. The Power of Yet is an awesome book for elementary students. But again, that conversation can be had at the secondary level. And it can be had at the professional level when we're sitting around a table together. No, I don't know which resource you're talking about. Can you tell me about that? I'm not shy saying that. I'm not going to pretend to know something. I need to continue learning. I'm not there yet. I continue learning and growing every day, and so do our students. Having them own that learning, having them be able to say, my goal for the end of this week is, or my goal for this month is, or my goal for this unit of study is. Giving them that ownership. And each and every single day, that teacher I was telling you about who had a challenging classroom, one of the things she put in place, which then caught on like wildfire in the building, were check-ins. Now, she had older students, so she did a Google form check-in, so that during the day she could check the form because the kids were one-to-one in the building. They could have with their computers, and they could have an opportunity of, recess was really tough for me today. Susie did this, and she said this to me, and I was very hurt. So the teacher throughout the day has that opportunity to get in there, so it's not interrupting the instruction, but going in, pulling the child out, and addressing needs as they come. Not waiting until the next day, not, oh, we'll talk about that tomorrow, or can you wait till later? Making sure that we're finding that best time so we can check in and see. This was done at a first grade level. So the one on the bottom right is first grade. The teacher I'm referencing is upper elementary, and she did it as a Google form. It worked out really well. Again, feeling kids where they're at. Again, they're coming in with stuff that can sometimes be unimaginable to us, and us being ready to handle that and be ready to work with that child. And again, relationships, I keep coming back to it. Okay, you guys are super important to me. So I keep talking about children, but everything that I'm talking about with the children, I'm doing with my staff every single day. I'm giving them the time and the space. When I went into my new job, I offered up open door to come have a conversation with me. My book was aside. Tell me about yourself. I'm like, well, I teach them. I'm like, no, tell me about yourself. And until they got comfortable with it, then it was, oh, my husband and I, every year we go to the Cape with the family, and oh, my in-laws, and oh, my children. Let me tell you about my children, and oh, this happened to me. Oh, and another thing that you should know about me is, so important, just like our kids are coming in, we are all coming in with something each and every day that could be hard, could be challenging. Make sure the people around you, I heard on the video this morning, talk and connect to the people around you. They're going to be the people who can laugh with you, cry with you, charge forward with you. Make sure to develop that. Another thing highly recommended is positive social gossip. Is anyone familiar with that? It's awkward and fun at the same time. So you get in a group of, and you can do it with how many people, but we technically do it with 4 or 5. You have one person who's going to be talked about, and the other people are the gossipers. It's awkward. I know. It's so awkward, but it's awesome. So the person being talked about sits quietly, not a peep. The gossipers talk right in the circle, talk about this person to one another. But note the key word, positive. Oh my gosh, did you see Robin teaching in her class? She is a master with those children. Oh my gosh, did you see when her child was really upset? Did you see what she did? She got down on her knees and she comforted him. Wait, did you see her outside at recess the other day? She was so connecting with those kids. It was awesome. She got in the swings with the kids. Positive affirmations for this person. And in that moment of sitting there being talked about, it's a little awkward, but once you get used to it, it's really good to hear kind things about yourself that people see in and about you each and every day. Because I think sometimes we lose sight of those everyday things that we do that are really good. People notice. Kids are watching, your colleagues are watching, the parents are watching, your directors are watching. So I highly recommend that. Team building activities. In April, we had our state testing happening, and it was staff meeting day, so of course I brought my cookies in, and I had those and some seltzers and waters and stuff in the main office. I said, come on down. And they're like, okay, where are we meeting for the staff meeting? They've got their, their laptops with them and their notebooks. And I said, put your stuff back in your room. Meet me in there. We're going to do some team building activities. We had so much fun. And it was not a time for a staff meeting. I read the group. The group was not ready to give any extra ounce of anything. So what did we do? We did the hula hoop thing. We're all connected. You got to get the hula hoop around your bodies without undoing your hands. And we did like obstacle courses. We were dying laughing, and they left and they said, Natalie, thank you. That was so much fun. So reading the people around you, just like I'm reading the adults, you're reading the children in your classrooms. You're reading your children on the bus. You're reading the children as they're getting their food in the cafeteria with you. You're reading the children as they take their backpacks off in the morning. Read that climate. See what our friends need. And for our building leaders, see what your people need. They're our best people. So this is just a bullet list of the things that, yes, I've been through what we call the unimaginable, the unthinkable. But it also gave me pause to say, I've got work to do. I can't stop here. I have survived this and I have work to do. And with that, I share my message of resilience and of moving forward. But in that, there were also a lot of lessons learned about school safety. What are we doing now? We have interior locks. What are we doing now? We have the double vestibule system and our glasses protected. Things that we hadn't thought about before because we hadn't been part of anything like this before. So really, bring your professionals together, start rethinking what it looks like, rather than getting into the same routinized plan that we're in every year. Think about the relationships that you're building with people. To me, without that, none of this other work can happen. So for me, that's the foundation of everything. Making sure that you are knowing each and every person who is with you each and every day, knowing the impact you have as a singular human being on so many people. And if that's a positive impact that you're bringing, awesome. And if you feel that negative slipping, step away. Step away, save it for another time. And again, I think someone in the video said, you have those little private groups that you're in, those smaller groups where you can cry on someone's shoulder and you can vent. I'm not saying don't do it, but make sure it's to and with the right people. So it's not affecting those who may be coming in with additional baggage as well. And then again, when we talk about the conversations, not only about physical safety, so we can talk with our experts all day about, well, what can we do to make this building safer? What can we do to harden the building? But what comes inside that building, that emotional safety for children and adults to come into a building or into a workplace and say, I feel really good being here today. And I will tell you, after Uvalde, it set many of us back. But my teachers said to me, every day after that shooting, Natalie, you have made us continue to feel safe in this building because you're willing to listen to us, you're willing to talk, and it really has opened the doors to those conversations. So we can't let it scare us. We have to continue to engage in conversation together. Thank you so much for inviting me to this beautiful state of Tennessee. I wish you all nothing but the best of luck as you start a new year together. I'm secretly jealous that you get out around Memorial Day, but I was talking to some friends last night. I don't start until after Labor Day. Isn't that wild? It's like, yep, I only live a 2.5-hour flight from here, but it's just so different. But I wish you nothing but the best, and I hope from today's conversation, not only with me, but with your colleagues and with your director, that you're able to kind of put some things in, like this is what I'm going to do this year, set some goals for yourself, and have a wonderful, joyous year. We're going to do this with COVID, right? No more remote learning, we're done with that. We're going to continue to trudge on. You are some of the most wonderful, hardworking people, but also each and every day recognize the impact you have on others. Thank you so much.
Mrs. Natalie. Wow, I think we have some goals to accomplish this year. Do you not agree? Super exciting. So thank you so much, Miss Natalie. We're going to take a break here. If everyone would look at your clocks or phones, we're going to be right back here starting right at 10 o'clock. So you have time to go visit our sponsors, use the restroom, and then back in at 10. Good morning. Keep on filing in. I always like to do training to task and not to time, so if we get where we can get started and I get you out of here a little early and get a little longer lunch at wherever you're going to go get lunch. Come on in, grab your seat. If somebody stole it, go ahead and kick them out. Jump back in your seat. Okay, well let's go ahead and get started. So, I had somebody come up to me during the break, and they go, you didn't introduce yourself, and we don't know who you are. So I'm the random guy that was walking up and down Main Street last night about midnight. They gave me a suit. I just jumped up and said, all right, let's do this. Now, I'm Billy Stepp. I am your new director of schools, and I am so excited to be in Cumberland County. What an amazing thing you all done. What y'all did over the past few years was awesome. Last year, gains in almost every area. Y'all are working your tails off, and I think that's our springboard to go to the next level. That's why I was so excited when somebody called me and said, hey, did you know this job's opening up? I'm like, ooh, now that I like. So I was super excited to get the opportunity to interview, and thank you to the school board for electing me in. Here's something funny. So 4 of the 5 people that voted me in didn't run for re-election. At least y'all didn't roll over on the floor. The first person I told that to, I had to leave for about 10 minutes so they'd catch their breath. But no, we've had a wonderful time. The school board and I, we went to the law conference, just had some great things. We got a lot of great ideas of moving forward. So we're super excited to build on all those successes you've already done. What an amazing county. And some of the stuff we're gonna work on, I did talk to you a little bit at the beginning, is our safety initiatives. And of course, Ms. Hammond, who is amazing. Let's hear it for her once again. I asked her, can I call you after this so I can kind of figure all this out? There's some amazing goals and initiatives that we want to do in Cumberland County. She's like, of course. So it's amazing. I look forward to a great relationship to help Cumberland County just become even better for our kids. It's exciting. So Here's another panic moment. Go back one. So I got the job. I was hanging out. It wasn't July 1st yet, but everybody's been amazing to me. I just kind of hung out and walked around and said hi. And everybody, like during the break, who are you? So we got to go through that process. But then they go, well, what's your logo going to look like? And I'm like, what? A logo? What? I don't do logos. So that was a fun process. This is about, I don't know, version 30 some odd million. I don't know. It was just a time almost panic. But then I looked at our mission statement. Of course, the current mission statement is we will empower our students to become productive citizens. Was I pretty close? So I kind of built on that. Because now, success in education is all about engagement of everyone involved. That includes what we talked about earlier, safety. It's everyone. So I said we will engage every student. We will innovate every learning experience so that we can empower them to be entrepreneurial with their knowledge and skills to be productive citizens. That's where I was coming from. Now, is that perfect yet? No, there'll be a rewrite, trust me. But that's the exciting part. But I got something for y'all to do. You need your partner on this one. So I'm going to wait before you go to this next picture. So this is what you're going to need to do. There's 12 things in central services, people that have already talked to me, you can't participate in this. You just got to sit and be cool. But there's 12 things on this next picture, and I want to see who can figure it out. I'm going to give you about 2 or 3 minutes, so go ahead and flip to the next one. What are those 12 things? Look at your neighbor and figure it out. Go. So while you're figuring it out, this was done by my daughter, Stomo, who is right over there. She painted this. If I wasn't standing here, you would have a lot bigger surprise, bigger applause. But I got artwork everywhere for my daughter, and this is the most recent. I got the job here in Cumberland County, and she come and checked out my office and central services and all that kind of stuff. And then she showed up, hey, I'm ready to decorate your office. It was July 1. So we're not going in until July 1. Yes, I'm superstitious, sort of. So July 1 came on, I was working all day, she decorated the office. This came out of her car, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is amazing. So anybody raise your hand that knows what that is? Now I give you the background. Nobody outside the front row, so only the Baptists know. Stand up, you're about to jump out of your seat. Stand up, what is it?
It's the schools! Yay!
You are correct. And it is a big campus. It's like 4x4. It's awesome. So this is the kind of stuff that makes me motivated every day to do stuff. So thank you, Stelma. That's awesome. And next slide. There she is. I think this is our most recent pick. This is at East Ridge where she lives now. She's studying marketing and she's working with our next speaker as an intern, so all kinds of great stuff. We showed up one day, she said, we're going to talk golf. I said, I didn't know you golf. She said, I didn't. So we went and had a great time. So love you, kiddo, it's awesome. And then next slide. All right, so my other job. So I have an amazing job. I didn't know I would ever have this. I went to college. Unlike both of my brothers and my father, they all went straight to the military. Went to college. I was 29, almost 30. They called me fossil fuel at basic training. But, no, seriously. So the drill sergeants were younger than me. And then they found out I was an assistant principal. So this was my first year as an assistant principal at a big high school. And we were out on a forward operating base. One of the maneuvers you do is a week out on a forward operating base. So this wasn't basic, that was actually walk school. So when I was at Warrant Officer Training School. And the TAC officers would just yell across the fog when I'm walking, hey, you gonna come paddle us now? I mean, it was crazy. But anyway, so my undergrad and my master's degree are in music. Go Knowles. Yeah, I'm a Florida State grad. Sorry. So, we did lose in '98, as Mr. Magnuson has told me several times. So, there you go. So I was civilian trained as a musician, and so somebody came to me and said, hey, why don't you join the band in Nashville? I said, what band in Nashville? Because I was gigging around then, you know, shady bars and stuff like that. But so they said, why don't you come join us? So I went in, brought my horn, sat down, we played. I walked into Commander's office at lunch, he said, you're in. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Somebody just asked me to come play. So needless to say, come May that year, I was headed off to basic at 29 years old. Went to basic training, come back, was actually in the ranks playing. But now they pushed me into the commander slot, so everybody kicked me out of every ensemble and I just lead stuff and do operations. But the cool part about that job, our job is to travel the state of Tennessee. We've been over to Bulgaria, Colombia, Turkey, places like that. We're to share the message, and it's strategic messaging from the Tennessee Adjutant General Jeffrey Holmes right now, but it's also to celebrate all those who serve. My job is to come to groups like this and say never forget, because it's near and dear to my family, near and dear to my heart. I love this country, and I get to go and celebrate all those who are serving, all those that did serve, from ceremonies all year long. So sometimes you won't see me around Veterans Day, Memorial Day, July 4th. I can't remember the last July 4th. Stelma would have to go with me places to be with me on July 4th. So that was a cool thing. So that's my other job. It's awesome. I love it. So my childhood. That picture was taken in the old band room there at Cumberland County High School. Anybody know who that is? Yeah, just say what you've been saying for the past month and a half. Oh, I see the resemblance. So I get that all the time. I actually sat down in a meeting. Dr. Maxwell invited me to go to a meeting, including the city mayor, Mr. Mayberry. And he had a funny story about my dad. Everybody has a funny story about my dad. But I show this picture just to show you how strong my mom is, the most amazing woman I've ever met in my life. She always said she had 4 boys, so I only have 2 brothers, so you know who the 4th is. So that was my childhood, but I grew up running around up there. The marching band field, practice field, used to be behind, what's in the old band room now? The yearbook's in the old band room? That's a big yearbook. That's a big room. Bunch of practice rooms in it. But back behind that room, that was all the band practice field. And I grew up there as a kid, just running around, getting in trouble with other band kids. But my dad would stand on the roof, and that was his tower to watch the marching band doing their thing. And I tell you, you mess up and you make him hot. I think Mr. Farley was telling me, they get smoked at football, and then they look over, the band's getting smoked by my dad, and I'm like, we ain't going over there either. But I used to watch him get mad. He'd hit that ladder. It was an extension ladder. So what is that, a 10-foot roof back there? I don't know, 12-foot roof. He'd hit that thing like a fireman. He was on the ground in that kid's face so fast. And I can't tell you what a joy it was to watch somebody else get that besides me. So amazing times as a kid. All right, for all those that didn't clap and cheer at the beginning, that was you. I know it was you. So I told you earlier when I said, Cumberland County Schools. Yeah, I know where you were last night. That's grape juice, by the way, if any community members are asking. We all know it's grape juice. Next slide. For all those that clapped and cheered, so now we're all just one big happy family now, aren't we? Next slide. I didn't even say anything. That's a great slide. Next slide. Okay, so this is one of my favorite videos. You've probably seen it. It's great to watch it every year. This is a TED Talk with Rita Pearson. And we've talked a lot about safety, and we've talked a lot about children first, and we've talked about teaching, and we've taken the lumps, just like Ms. Hannah mentioned the past few years. We've taken hard lumps. But we're still here. We're still resilient. We're still here. Everyone knows why we're here, right? It's the children. That motivates every person in this room. Doesn't matter if you're part of the backbone of the school system, and the backbone of the school system is all the transportation pros, nutrition pros, the nurses, the teacher assistants, the custodian. If you guys don't do your job, we can't do ours. You guys are amazing. The teachers know you're amazing, so let's hear it for those backbones. But while some of these memes say teachers on it, I think I know some of you had a glass too last night. So, but without further ado, if y'all will join me and let's listen to Miss Rita Pearson after the ad, of course. So I'm trying to sell something to you. I don't know what it is, but.
My entire life, either at the schoolhouse, on the way to the schoolhouse, or talking about what happens in the schoolhouse. Both my parents were educators. My maternal grandparents were educators. And for the past 40 years, I've done the same thing. And so needless to say, over those years, I've had a chance to look at education reform from a lot of perspectives. Some of those reforms have been good, some of them have been not so good. And we know why kids drop out. We know why kids don't learn. It's either poverty, low attendance, negative peer influences. We know why. But one of the things that we never discuss, or we rarely discuss, is the value and importance of human connection. Relationships. James Comer says that no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. George Washington Carver says all learning is understanding relationships. Everyone in this room has been affected by a teacher or an adult. For years, I have watched people teach. I have looked at the best and I've looked at some of the worst. A colleague said to me one time, they don't pay me to like the kids. They pay me to teach a lesson, the kids should learn it, I should teach it, they should learn it, case closed. Well, I said to her, you know, kids don't learn from people they don't like. She said, that's just a bunch of hooey. And I said to her, well, your year is going to be long and arduous, dear. Needless to say, it was. Some people think that you can either have it in you to build a relationship or you don't. I think Stephen Covey had the right idea. He said you ought to just throw in a few simple things, like seeking first to understand as opposed to being understood. Simple things like apologizing. You ever thought about that? Tell a kid you're sorry, they're in shock. I taught a lesson once on ratios. I'm not real good with math, but I was working on it. And I got back and looked at that teacher edition. I taught the whole lesson wrong. So I came back to class the next day and I said, look guys, I need to apologize. I taught the whole lesson wrong. I'm so sorry. I said, that's okay, Miss Pearson. You were so excited. We just let you go. I have had classes that were so low, so academically deficient that I cried. I wondered, how am I going to take this group in 9 months from where they are to where they need to be? And it was difficult. It was awfully hard. How do I raise the self-esteem of a child and his academic achievement at the same time? One year I came up with a bright idea. I told all my students, you were chosen to be in my class. Because I am the best teacher and you are the best students, they put us all together so we could show everybody else how to do it. One of the students said, really? I said, really? We have to show the other classes how to do it. So when we walk down the hall, people will notice us. So you can't make noise, you just have to scrub. And I gave them a saying to say, I am somebody. I was somebody when I came. I'll be a better somebody when I leave. I am powerful and I am strong. I deserve the education that I get here. I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go. And they said, yeah. They say it long enough, it starts to be a part of you. And so, I gave a quiz, 20 questions. Student missed 18. I put a +2 on his paper and a big smiley face. He said, Miss Pearson, is this an F? I said, yeah. He said, then why'd you put a smiley face? I said, because you on the roll. You got 2 right, you didn't miss them all. I said, won't you do better? He said, yes, ma'am, I can do better. You see, -18 sucks all the life out of you. +2 said, I ain't all bad. 4 years, I watched my mother take the time at recess to review, go on home visits in the afternoon, buy combs and brushes and peanut butter and crackers to put in her desk drawer for kids that needed to eat, and a washcloth and some soap for the kids who didn't smell so good. See, it's hard to teach kids who stink. And kids can be cruel. And so she kept those things in her desk, and years later, after she retired, I watched some of those same kids come through and say to her, you know, Miss Walker, you made a difference in my life. You made it work for me. You made me feel like I was somebody when I knew at the bottom I wasn't. And I want you to just see what I've become. And when my mama died 2 years ago at 92, there were so many former students at her funeral. It brought tears to my eyes, not because she was gone, but because she left a legacy of relationships that could never disappear. Can we stand to have more relationships? Absolutely. Will you like all your children? Of course not. And you know your toughest kids are never absent. Never. You won't like them all, and the tough ones show up for a reason. It's the connection, it's the relationships. And while you won't like them all, the key is they can never, ever know. So teachers become great actors and great actresses, and we come to work when we don't feel like it, and we listen to policy that doesn't make sense, and we teach anyway. We teach anyway because that's what we do. Teaching and learning should bring joy. How powerful would our world be if we had kids who were not afraid to take risks, who were not afraid to think, and who had a champion every child deserves a champion, an adult who will never give up on them, who understands the power of connection and insists that they become the best that they can possibly be. Is this job tough? You betcha. Oh God, you betcha. But it is not impossible. We can do this. We're educators. We're born to make a difference. Thank you so much.
So if you're a new teacher, be Miss Walker. That's easy, right? So it's exciting. Just love on the kids. Engage every student. That's what's amazing about that TED Talk. I watch it every year. It's the beginning of the year. I still got goosebumps right now just thinking about how much we can actually do for every child in the building. It's amazing. And one of the best lines is, the worst ones never miss. Well, we know that too. So we've talked a lot about the engage, innovate, and empower. Well, not a lot, some. We are the ones that are the front lines. We are the ones that can make a difference. We are the ones, when they get on that bus, love on them. When they get out of that car at the car line, love on them. When they walk in that school and just see how pretty and clean everything is, we love on them. When they go in and get their breakfast that morning or their lunch, we're loving on them. We have to build those relationships to make a difference. And Cumberland County has all those people, so I'm so excited about this year. Now this is how I see teachers now after the past 3 to 5 years. There's stuff we can't control, right? A lot of stuff coming down way above our heads. We can control Cumberland County though. So I'm not the strongest, I'm not the biggest, I'm not the fastest, but I am consistent, persistent, and resilient. And we will never give up in Cumberland County. So that's how I see our future year here. So I'm super excited. Had to do it, I'm sorry, I had to do it. It's just one of those things you have to do. But I'm really excited too about our next speaker today. Our next speaker is Mr. Vincent Phipps. Yeah, I think that's Mr. Phipps. I think he just arrived. So audience call Vincent the Attitude Amplifier. This is because of his high energy, interactive presentation style. Vincent's passion is helping industry leaders improve their interpersonal communication, emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and presentation skills. By traveling all over the world, Vincent addresses the communication skills highlighted in his book, Lead Out Loud, about how to improve the ways we respond, speak, communicate, listen, and lead. Vincent has a double master's degree in leadership and management. Vincent is awarded the Certified Speaking Professional designation. This is the National Speaking Association industry's highest earned honor. Vincent is also featured in the top 1% of the world's best motivational speakers and corporate communication coaches. Vincent's presentation philosophy is the following: if I can get you to laugh, I can get you to listen. If I can get you to listen, I can help you amplify. Hey, let's welcome our speaker, the Attitude Amplifier, Mr. Vincent Ivan Phipps.
Good morning, Cumberland County! I want you to free your hands up when I ask you all a question, so free your hands up. All right, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. If the answer is yes, I want you to clap one time. Here comes the first question. Do you have someone that you work with that gets on your nerves? Just like that, man. All right, second question. Second question. If you have someone that you live with, let's clap one time. Okay, you were clap that time. If you did not clap the first or the second time, chances are that person is probably you. Thank you all for allowing me to be here. I want to share with you some messages that will impact your poise, your polish, and your professionalism when it comes to how we motivate them. When it comes to our students, we have to be right in our hearts to be effective in their heads. Somebody's clicking. Is the microphone on? Push something? Good deal. Get this. 1, 2, 3. Good deal? It's nice, I'm so loud, it's nice to be said I can't be heard every once in a while. If we cannot be right in our own hearts, we can't have a positive impact on someone else's head. So we got to make sure that before we teach other people about respect and accountability and about kindness, we've got to be all right within ourselves. And one of the things that keeps us from being effective educators is that we're not right in our head and our own hearts. So today we're going to talk about what can we do to make ourselves better, to make our students better. Take a look at the next slide. Here are the things that we're going to take a look at. Is this the coolest looking brother you've seen in your life? This is my grandfather, Johnny Bay Johnson. If you've ever visited Chattanooga, Tennessee, my hometown, there is a riverboat called the Southern Belle. My grandfather was the first head cook in the history of the Southern Belle to be a black man. You can clap, it's okay, I'm black. He taught me the importance of being kind and being considerate and always being there for others. So I carried that ideology with me when I went off to my undergraduate degree at Middle Tennessee State University. My grandfather was always kind-hearted and always loving, and he always wanted you to put other people before you put things before yourself. So I carried that with me. So my freshman year of college at MTSU, my roommate was named Patrick. Now Patrick had money. I didn't know the guy had money. I just liked nice people. I didn't know he had money until I realized that he was flown from his hometown in Venice Beach out in California because he had a volleyball scholarship for MTSU. I never knew a dude that played volleyball. And he was in a diet, 6'5", that sunshine, flowy hair, ripped body. He was the guy that when you walk with women go, Well, all the schools in California had gave all of their D1 scholarships, but MTSU said, hey, we could use someone who can play volleyball. We don't pay for you to come to school if you play for us. So he had never left California. He had never been out east. He had never been to Tennessee. He had never been to Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And on our Christmas break, school shuts down, even your meal ticket shuts off. So nowhere to stay, nothing to eat. I'm about to head home to Chattanooga, hit Mount Eagle, go get some good cooking for my grandfolks. He gets a phone call, and here's what I hear. Oh, you don't want me to come home? Okay, Mom. All right. Well, is Dad there? He's busy. Okay. Well, I got the money to send. I'll get a hotel or something. All right. Well, Mary, he was devastated. And I said, Pete, it was Patrick called Pete. I said, Pete, I said, why don't you come home with me? Down to Chattanooga. He says, you sure be okay. Your folks will mind. I said, man, come on, we love it. He goes, okay, I love to go. So we pack up. Now, we hit Mount Eagle, and he's one of those health food people. You know, California avocado smoothies. One of those people. So he asked me, what type of cooking do we do in Chattanooga? So I realized not only do I need to educate him on our Southern cuisine, it's my responsibility to educate him on he's never really been around black people. So I said, Pete, when we hit the door, my grandfather loves to cook and my grandmother loves to cook. I said, when they see you, they're going to ask you, baby, is your honey? What's the answer? Yes. Right there. See, some of y'all say, yes, ma'am, you were raised right. So we get there, grandfather meets him, give him a good firm handshake. My grandmama, ooh, look at you, you tall glass of water, come here, baby. We get there about 8 8:30 Eastern time, and my grandmother puts out a spread to impress him. She's got pancakes. She has that apple wood smoked bacon that's real thick. She did the cinnamon rolls with the almond glaze. She has the scrambled eggs, the proper way with cheese. He eats every bit of it. He's not a big eater. He doesn't eat like that. He's about to pop. She goes, "Baby, is you still hungry?" He looks at me, I look at him. He goes, "Yes, ma'am." So my grandfather comes in, makes him a Western omelet with the diced ham and the onions, and then my grandfather, he loved to do those real thick ham steaks. Whooped up one of those, then boils him a couple more eggs. Then my grandpa does this waffles, then he dips in this vanilla batter. He eats every bit of it. Now he's in a food coma. I'm thinking, enough's enough. You're being kind. Don't be offended. Call it off. My grandfather said, "Hey, want some more?" I'm thinking. So P says, "Yes, sir. I love some more." So my grandfather whips up a whole batch of grits with the raisins, the cranberries, the brown sugar, the real butter. My grandfather asked P, "Would you like some grits?" And P started now to sweat, making syrup. He says the coolest and funniest thing I've ever heard. He said, "Mr. Johnson, I'm getting kind of full, but I love some grits, but I never had them before, so can I just have one?" What makes you special, it's not your income, or it's not your skin color, or it's not even how much money you have. How do you treat people? Where's your respect factor? Can you get along with someone that doesn't look like you? Can you be kind to someone that doesn't believe what you believe? Can you have a conversation and listen about a new perspective without enforcing your opinion on someone else? That's what my grandfather taught me that makes you special. And what I want you to understand is that as educators, it's not just about what you think. Talk to the kids. Ask them questions. Of course you're adults. Of course you know better. But you don't know what's going on in their head and their hearts. So you want to take the time to listen and understand. Here's why that's so important. When the man you see on the screen sat me down, he taught me the importance of how to make other people just feel special. Make them feel better. When I was a kid, my granddad, how do you do that? How do you feel special? And he always had money. I don't know how he always had cash money. We always did. The man you see on the screen raised my mom and his 6 daughters, have 7 aunts, plus my grandmother and him. So it was 9 people in a house, 1 bathroom. He paid cash. He was the first black man on Blackwood Street in Chattanooga, Tennessee to live in that neighborhood, and he paid cash. My grandfather had a car. Like, how's a mother getting a car in the house? And feeding all them kids. And here's what's even crazier. He bought them nice clothes. Out of his 7 daughters, 5, including my mom, won best dressed in high school. They kept borrowing each other's clothes. I never understood why my grandfather always had cash money. And people thought, was he doing something illegal? Was he involved with local crime? Because my grandfather was as educated as many of us have the pleasure of being. My grandfather left school in the 5th grade. He proudly called himself a drop-in. I said, "Granddad, don't you mean you were a dropout?" He goes, "No, boy, they have class every once in a while, and I dropped in." So he didn't have all the education that he had. I later found out on his deathbed how he was able to have cash money all the time. And whether he was a cook, whether he was cleaning kitchens, whether he worked in hotels and restaurants, he always got huge tips because he was so kind. And I remember my grandfather telling me about his very first job ever that I want to share with you about just how to make people feel special. He was born in a small town called Corinth Mississippi. You know about Corinth. Okay, I said it's called Corinth. Okay, see, y'all love the great people when they Corinth. Thank you. Well, at the time he was going up, the town had one traffic light. Also only had one gas station. And it was self-serve. Self-serve meant you don't get out of the car. They come in and check the air pressure, fill your gas up, wash your windows, do it all for you. They said my grandfather was a genius. Never went to school, never graduated, but an academic genius they called him because they said he had an impeccable memory. He could remember names, faces, dates, times, and he had such rapport with people that they would always see him as smarter than he gave himself credit for. And I said, well, Granddad, what's an example of how smart you were? And he said, well, I can remember the job they had, I can remember their names, their kids' names, their schools. And I said, you were a genius. He says, go close the door before they continue the song. Shut the door, comes back. When they would come through his gas station, they would pull up, and he would say, hey, Mr. Johnson, good to see you again. I heard you got that promotion out of the bank. Well done. Guess what this makes? Year number 11. Oh, by year 15, you'll be vice president. Then he said, hey, Miss Johnson, I hope that you'll be making an apple pie this year. You win every year at the town fair. You make the best apple pies in Little Susie. Don't you worry about failing that science exam. You'll get it next week. Ain't nothing wrong. You stay in there. Like, how do you remember all this? Every car, he can remember these details. The secret was, he told me that when people would come up, he would take a little slip of paper. He would put it inside of their gas tank. And nobody pumped their own gas. Every time they pull up, you open it, read it, take it back in, and remember all the details. I said, Granddad, ain't that cheating? He says, you left with a smile, always gave me a big tip. He said, I never told a lie, never broke the law. You see, when you can make people feel special, they will go out of their way for you. And when you can listen to your students, make them feel better about themselves than they do at that moment, you release an avalanche of confidence that is unprecedented. So here's the question I want you all to ask yourselves. What are you doing to have a positive impact on others? It's not just about how we feel. It's about what are you doing to make a significant difference. Because we may feel horrible. Coffee may be bad. Didn't hear a song on the radio. Somebody at the house had an attitude. And we walked in funky like a monkey. And whether you say it or not, people who are around you, they know your good mood body language. They know your I feel good face. They also know don't bother me today because today's today and tomorrow ain't looking good to you. So you want to always find ways to bring joy to others. Take the next slide. These words are familiar to you all? These are the three dynamics that I want you all to incorporate. When you look at each of these, accountability, acknowledgement, and adaptability, it's the engage, the innovate, and the empower that I want to make sure you all incorporate with everything that you do. My mother, Doris Stipps, taught in the public school system for 33 years. She said with great confidence to every one of her students, I ain't here because I'm trying to be rich. I'm here because I give a darn. Sometimes she didn't say the word darn. But they knew that Miss Phillips had their back. And she said that if you want to learn, I will teach you. But if you don't want to learn, I can't help you. You got to want it for yourself. So I want you to look at these three embodiments and encapsulate this with what you're going to do as we go forward. Give me the next slide. Here's what I want you to do. Remain in your seats. I want you to break up into groups, maybe 3 to 5 to a group. And I'm going to give you all 30 seconds. Here is the assignment. You are to come up with your definition of how you define accountability. Go. 15 seconds. Okay, here's what I want. Here's what I want. Right now, whatever group you're in, your group is going to need a spokesperson. You're just going to say aloud your team's definition of how you all define accountability. I need one person from each group to raise their hand. Do that now. Keep it up, perfect, keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, perfect, perfect, awesome. All right, perfect. Okay, each team is going to need a spokesperson. Person with your hand raised. Point to the person in your group close to you. The person you're touching is your spokesperson. I want to hear at least a couple who would like to share their definition of accountability. Who has one? Who has one? Got one, yes, sir. Say your name and your position.
Jason McGee, Network Specialist for Government Accountability.
Thank you, Jason. And how do you all define accountability?
We kept it as own it.
Own it! Good Jason, hand. Good Jason, my hand. Let's see one more. Let's see one more. Are you waving a flag like don't come back here? Okay. I saw a white hanky. I didn't know if they might give up. Anybody want to try? Got one more? Let's get one more. Let's get one more. You all wonderful. Your name and who you represent.
Penny Phipps, I'm a federal program.
Penny Phipps? That's my last name. My name. What's up, sis? All right. Penny, what was your team's definition of accountability?
We said show up every day and just do your flipping job.
Oh, come on. Come on. You are Phipps. You are Phipps, right? You see, when the clippers stop, they leave, you see. Here's what I want you to look at for accountability. I want y'all to think about something. How often do you say, I'm sorry? Whenever you need to, like that, sir. Does it feel weird for you to say, I'm sorry? If it feels weird to say, I'm sorry, what might that mean? You're not doing it enough. There's a person in my life that when they're right, talk loud, talk fast, whole lot of pointing, whole lot I told you so, whole lot of I should have. Just voracious energy when they're right. But when they're wrong, I get this. Whoa! Where's all that Tabasco habanero tag and pepper player? I want to encourage you all, especially with your students, also with staff, also with co-workers, also with family, but especially with your students. When you mess up, then fess up. I have the honor of being a professor for 13 years at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. Mr. Stepp's daughter, Stelmo, is one of my absolute best interns. Another one of my absolute best interns is Abigail Smithco. Y'all look out, raise your hand. Say hello, Abigail. Hello, Smithco. I listen to class all the time. Wrong syllabus, wrong date, wrong time. I once chewed out my students for coming in late. I gave them the wrong class. Not only did I apologize,
When I brought pizza, the next class let it up half hour early. They said, Mr. Phipps, please be wrong some more. Fess up! Here's what we're going to do about accountability. I want to do an activity. Now I'm going to ask you all a question. All I want you to do is to answer the question honestly as fast as you can. Now look at the slide. You see the word engage with accountability. My wife and I have been together for 19 years. I know, woo, that's what she said, woo. Can you imagine waking up to me every morning? I woke up about 4, we were about 2 hours away. Still almost said, Vincent, remember, it's Central Time. I said, got it, great. And then Abigail, make sure Vincent get the PowerPoint, got it. And I got excited about changing the whole scheme this morning. Oh, they're gonna love this. And I ended up getting so excited, I got up around 4 or 5 o'clock this morning. I couldn't wait. I'm making images around, concepts. I said, oh, Billy gonna love this. I'm getting excited. My wife wakes up and she said, speech day? She goes, oh. Because she knows how it goes speech day. Whenever I have the honor of having my wife travel with me, usually I'll go to the city, I'll check into the hotel. The client wants to meet me before, sometimes dinner, sometimes overview. Here's where you're going to go up, here's where you're going to stay. Sometimes when we meet some of the executives, my wife goes out and she shops. Doesn't bother me. Happy wife? Happy wife. See, all the women. Think of the word shop. S-H-O-P. Shop. Now, when you think of the word shop, I want you to remember this. All I want you to do is answer a question. And answer honestly. Can you handle it? Okay. Now, only 88% of the population, they get this wrong. Or about 11% get this right. But you all are coming to count. You're the smart ones. You might be part of that 11%. Here's what I want you to do. When I say 1, 2, 3, go, you want to say the word shop 3 times as fast as you can. Then simply answer a question. Most can't do it, but you all are special. Ready? I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go. Then you say shop, shop, shop as fast as you can. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go! What do you do when you come to a green light? Stop. Go. What just happened? Think about what happens in our classrooms. Think about when you think you've given a clear, concise message. And in your mind, what's unclear about this? I'm killing this teacher thing. They're going to love this. And then they do something that is nowhere near. And then you're upset with them. Sometimes you should be. But what happened just now is what happens in our classrooms all the time. What happens is we think we give a clear message, and as a result, we have a preconceived notion. He ain't gonna trick me. I'm not gonna say stop. I'm smart. And just like you take a slingshot and you pull back that rock, or you pull back that marble, or if you're a Gen Z or millennial, Google slingshot. And all that centrifugal energy is built up so that you release that hand, that projectile or that marble or that rock goes further. Sometimes our attitudes are pulled back and we're waiting for a response. We don't need facts. We don't need data. And the worst thing we want information to change the way we feel. Because we're so focused on, I'm gonna let you have it, soon as you shut up. And we do not take the time to listen because we're trying too hard to focus on responding. And as a result, we do an injustice to the intellectual concept of learning because we're unwilling to be adaptive, and instead we're trying to be forceful. We're trying to be coercive. We're trying to be too demanding. And we're not willing to adapt. And as a result, the learning does not occur. That's frustrating. And what's needed is to take a step back, process information, even when you're angry. Because that's what's needed to be more effective. Not just with our students, but in life. So I want you all to remember to stick with that philosophy. Here's what we're going to do. Listening is such a heavy component with education because there are all kind of debate classes, speaking classes, give a book report class. If you have had a listening class, kindergarten, elementary, grammar, high school, college, post-college, if you have ever had a listening class, say, mm-hmm. Is that what that was? Most haven't. But right now, we're going to have an impromptu Cumberland County listening test. We're going to find out just how well you can follow directions. Here's what we want. There are sheets of paper scattered about. Blank sheets of paper that either Abigail or Stelmo gave out. All right, you guys got it. Wonderful. Here's what I want. Give your sheet of paper to the person close to you that's the good listener. Why the paper's moving so fast? Come on, tell me. You see this building fast. Papers are flying. Woo, okay, I see how y'all doing. If you have a paper, I want you to hold up the paper. Hold it up, perfect. Hold it up. One, hold it up. Now, fold it in half. Hold it in half. Now, right now, I want you to tear off a small piece of paper from the middle and then hand it to the person next to you so that we don't make a mess. Tear off a small piece of paper from the middle, take a small piece of paper, hand it to someone to your left so we don't make a mess. Now, hold that sheet of paper again, hold it in half again. Hold it in half again. Now, tear off a small piece from the upper left. Small piece from the upper left. Tear off that small piece from the upper left. Hand it to the person to your left, that way we don't make a mess. All right, hold it up. Hold it half again. Now tear off a small piece from the lower right. Tear off a small piece from the lower right. There you go. Wonderful. Awesome. All right. We don't want to make a mess. All right. Now before we move forward, can we agree that I asked the person who had the paper to be the one that was the good listener? Can we also agree that I gave everyone the same instructions? Can we also agree I gave everyone the same instructions at the same time? All right. What I want you to do is to hold up. Don't laugh yet, it's coming. Hold up your paper, unfold it, and find anyone in the room that has a design like yours. Do it now. Hold it up. Hold it up. Hold it up. Hold it up. Wonderful. Look around. Look around. Look around. Hold up. Did you tear off anything? All right. Okay, y'all be different. My man been playing with him. My man
gave the same instructions at the same time with the same directions to the same people, and there's so many different designs. How is that possible? Presentation. Some of you, when I say fold in half, well, which half? Long and horizontal? Vertical? Based on the size of your hand, how much you pour it off? Here's what's wrong with our education system. It's the same thing that's wrong with our homes and our communities. The flaw in communication is to assume that it occurs. That's the flaw. You think you're being clear. Do the assignment right, little Billy. Okay, what's right to them? Make sure that you clean it up. What does clean it up mean? You can't see it. These are the things I want you all to incorporate into your classrooms. There is no right or wrong. It's about stating expectations and holding people accountable if they fail to meet those expectations, but also rewarding them when they do it. Too many times we work on a punishment system. When people do something wrong, the punishment is heavy. When they do it right, we're supposed to do that. Well, reward them for it. You don't have to reward them for every little thing, but there needs to be some type of balance so that people see that there is a right way to be rewarded. In my neighborhood, if you graduate college, nobody cares. You know what really got you clout and credit and recognition in my neighborhood? Getting out of prison. That was cool. They threw you picnics and parties. If I walk in my neighborhood and says, yep, I got my bachelor's in linguistic communication, don't touch me, suckers, nobody cares. But if I said I just did 5 years armed robbery, for real? Come on, man, what's what happened? You see, the reward for doing something right was so low. And the appreciation doing something wrong was so high, I got confused. And I realized if I turn in this wallet, I get a thank you. I keep the wallet, I get a Nintendo. Once again, millennials, Google free. We've got to show that there's value in doing things the right way. And that starts with how we teach our kids and how we are encouraging others to do the right thing, not because it's the easy thing, but it's the accountable and responsible thing. Everybody with me? Looking at your adaptability. In your groups, right now, whoever was your last spokesperson, I need a new spokesperson. I want you to define adaptability. 30 seconds, go. How do you define adaptability? I got to do right here. That's the situation. Adaptability. Whoever was your last spokesperson, we need a new spokesperson. So choose a new spokesperson. I went to school in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So I'm a proud product of the Hamilton County school system. My very first teacher in the first grade was Mrs. Howe. In OLPH, Our Lady of Perpetual Help. So I went to school. You all remember the game that was the block, and you had the triangle wooden piece, and the square piece, and the circle piece, and you had to make sure that the right side geometrical shape went into the right hole? Well, Miss Howe used this as an aptitude test to find out who were her star students and who got to watch recess from the other side of the window. I did not realize I was 19 years old. I was a sophomore at MTSU. I was dyslexic. I had a learning disability. Things were weird to me, shapes, distances, maps. It was like it was spinning around, and if I stopped it, it would switch. Look at it, switch again, and I would say, the stuff keeps moving. It ain't moving, now concentrate. Wow.
Miss Howe would time the kids of how fast they could put in all the pieces. Now, a normal kid can do it in about 30 seconds. So the piece is real big, only about 10 shapes. It shouldn't be that hard if you're an okay kid. And I wasn't an okay kid. So after 15, 20 seconds, everybody's done, go to recess. There I am, trying to make the triangle turn, and the square is not really a rhombus, but the rhombus was like octagon, and the circle's like an oval, because the oval has the devil. And it was just weird, and I couldn't get it to fit. After about a minute, she just said, Vincent, just stop, just go to the corner. Hated it. I promised the next day, I'm going to make sure I can do this in under 30 seconds. Next day, recess came along. 30 seconds, all the kids were gone. It's my turn. I ended up doing it 15 seconds. She goes, oh, Vincent, nice. And she might not know. So she calls the principal, just to validate. Then called my mom, come off her job. Then called my dad, brought him down, and says, Vincent, would you mind showing us what you did? And I'm thinking, you're so impressed with this kid with a great IQ. Let me show him how to do it again. Next time I did it, 9 seconds. My mom's face was disappointed. My dad's face was disappointed. The principal. Miss Howe says, Vincent, the square piece does not go in that round hole. And I said, Miss Howe, I found out that if you push hard enough, they all fit. Adaptability, there's more than one way to learn. There's more than one way to see things. So as educators, be flexible with your students. You don't know what kind of morning they had. You don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know if some of them are more academically inclined with mathematics like my dad was, or if they're more artistic and linguistic like I was, or if they were more into the kinesthetic doing things with their hands like my brother was, or if they were more interpersonal like my grandfather was. You don't know. So try to be flexible with how our students learn. What are some definitions of adaptability? Who would like to share? Who would like to share? My man. I'm good shit, brother. Good deal. All right. What would your name, sir? Who do you represent? Russell. Good deal, Russell. How do you all define adaptability? Paddington Bear with the yellow hat. Okay. Gotcha. All right. How do you feel about the consensus? Now we all right. Come on, have a beer. Notice I said this is my opinion. So if they hate it, I claim it. Hey, accountability, right there. Anybody else for sharp one? Right there. Really? Oh, okay, good deal. I got you. Go to the edge. Go to the edge. Say your name for me and who you represent. You would be way over there, player. You better be glad to get my 5 miles this morning. All right. Where are you, sir? David, who you represent, David? My man, thank you. So give my man a hand right there, my man. Yes, sir. And the school people probably. All right, sir. Making that problem work for you. Give my man a hand. Good job. Awesome. Now, I don't know why I thought that it would work from way back here. I was confident, wasn't it? Here's what we're going to do next. One of the things that we have to do is to be problem solvers. As educators, you are professional problem solvers. That means when something comes up, we have to be able to identify it and resolve it. The problem is some of us like to complain. You're happy when there's something wrong. I want you to be problem solvers. Here's what I want you all to do. In a moment, I'm going to need 20 volunteers to come on stage. 10 on this side, 10 on this side. Now, if you come up here, number one, be comfortable. If you aren't awesome at this, it will be painless and hopefully kind of fun. So I want you to think about which 20, 10 on this side, 10 on this side. Now, if you feel comfortable the next 90 seconds, just come on down, and we'll start in a second. Here's why it's important. that, come on up, there we go, my man. Come on, man. Good deal. I need 10. I got 2, I got 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Come on, man. Come on, come on, County. Come on, come on, County. There we go. Come up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need one more from this side. One more from this side. Come on, man. There we go, man. There we go. Thank you, man. All right. There we go. Come on, County. Come on, there we go. Right here, my man. Good deal, my man. Good deal. Thank you, sir. Good deal. Come on up. Come on up. Good deal. There we go. We need 10. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on, 2 more. Come on, 2 more. Come on. Got 9, my man in the blue shirt. All right, my man. And 1 more. Got 1 more here. Come on down, Mom. There you go. We got 10 right here. Awesome. Good. You got 10? Got 10? Wonderful. All right. We've got to be solution-oriented. We have to stop blaming other people and find a way to figure things out. You're educated, you're trusted, you're professionals. I had a coaching session with a couple that felt as if there was something missing in their marriage. The wife's complaint was that the husband will know a good thing when he sees it. I asked them, how do you want to start the session? Who would like to go first? And the husband said, well, I can start. He says, I first ended up losing my job. Then I lost the house. Then I ended up gambling away our savings. I said, well, ma'am, how would I respond to that? She goes, I don't see how he can't appreciate a good thing when he see it. She says, where was I when you lost your job? He said, right there by my side. She goes, that's right. And she said, and when you lost the house that your mother gave you, our only home, where was I? Yeah, you right there by my side. And she said, we went to Vegas. I told you not to double down on blackjack, but oh no. You had to do a split, and then you lost all our savings, but where was I? He goes, I remember correctly, you were right there next time. And I asked him, I said, sir, after everything you both have shared, how do you see your wife? Listen, he goes, ain't she bad luck? You got to stop blaming people. You got to take some accountability. Here's what we're going to do. Right now, I need one person from each team to grab this stack of papers. One person from each team to grab this stack of papers. Here's what I want. The first team to do this correctly wins. Here's what we want. In a moment, there's going to be a number on this slide. Each of you will get one sheet of paper that has a number. As a team, in any way that you feel is most efficient and most conducive for teamwork and to accomplish the goal as a problem solver, you are to align yourselves in the proper numeric position to correspond with the numbers that are on the screen. Sound good? You have 30 seconds. 3, 2, 1, go. 30 seconds. Come on, Cumberland County. Come on, give a hand. They still working. They still working. That's all right. All right. Is the 5 high? Oh, there you go. Okay. Oh, there's the group I should be in. This is the same. Thank you all. Give them all another hand. Fantastic job. Good job. Remember these three dynamics. Engage with accountability, innovate with acknowledgement, and empower with adaptability. I have the pleasure of getting to know Mr. Steph over the last few months, and we were preparing for this day. And he is egregiously enthusiastic about doing the right by you all. There's going to be change. There's going to be modification. He needs your flexibility as much as you need his leadership. And you need each other to embody all of those entities of being flexible, embracing change, being comfortable with these transitions, adapting under pressure, working as a team, being accountable when you mess up, but also being reassuring that you all can learn effectively together. As I conclude, I want to share this final message with you all. You've got to have an attitude of positivity. There will not always be happy days, but you can choose your attitude in those moments. 2 weeks ago, I had the honor of being the very first keynote speaker in the history of Tennessee, graced the world's largest stage for professional speakers in the NSA. It's called the National Speakers Association. Part of my responsibility as past president of the state of Tennessee was to travel to other locations and talk about the importance of speaking with poised, polished, and professionals. I go to a local hotel where I'm the featured speaker. I always arrive early no matter where I go. I get out of the car, unpack, check into the hotel, then I go to the front desk. And when I look up at the marquee, I see the word welcome is misspelled. Now, mistakes happen. People mess up. It's how you handle those mistakes that show me who you are. I go to the front desk and say, excuse me, ma'am, but there's a discrepancy with the sign. Will you please assist me? Here's what she says. Oh, it's just that the W is upside down, sugar. People will still know. But I want them to fix it, so she gets the manager. I'm thinking, is this really a managerial problem? You can handle this, lady. So the manager comes out, walks right past me, goes to her, and says, what's the problem? She says, that gentleman has the problem. He comes in with that manager, I'll fix it, walk. The manager and the other lady start. He comes over and says, sir, how can I help you? I'm thinking, what was all that over there? I said, can you please fix the sign? He leaves me, walks back over to the front desk and asks the lady, who worked last night's shift? She said, I think it was Lisa. He said, well, get Lisa on the phone. I think Lisa's on vacation. When's she getting back? I don't care who Lisa is. What did I need? Fix the sign. Out of nowhere, there comes the custodian. He's carrying a 25-foot-long steel ladder. He props the ladder on the sign, walks up, grabs the upside-down W, flips it right side up, so now it no longer says welcome, it now properly says welcome. He climbs back down the ladder, lifts it up, walks past all of us, not saying a word to anybody. Custodian! I looked at the front desk manager and at the lady behind the desk. And I said to the custodian, Thank you, sir, for taking action. I've been here 15 minutes, seen 3 employees, and you're the only one who did something about resolving the problem. And I thank you. I'd like to know your name so I can brag on you to whoever pays you and tell them that you deserve a raise. He had the biggest grin you ever seen, and as he's walking away, I said, sir, thank you again for solving my problem. He looks at me, looks at the side, winks, and says, you Malcolm.
Let's hear it once more for Mr. Vinci. Wow, what a great guy. So exciting times coming in Cumberland County. We have a lot to look forward to, a lot of goals to accomplish. And we've had 2 wonderful people here today to kind of tee it up and let us knock it out of the park. So Ms. Hannah, Mr. Fitz, thank you once again. It was awesome having you here. So now, let's talk about some recognition. So it's that time of year. Let's start out with, and for interest, let's see, where are we here? Oh, we got some time. Now, if you're my age, you're welcome to kind of sneak out if you need to and come back in. For whatever reason, I don't know. Who knows what that is. So let's start out with our 10 years of service. I want to name off your name. Please come up here. You'll stay up here. We're going to get a picture. And then once we get the picture, we're going to recognize a bunch more people. So let's start out with 10 years. So David Boomer Beard, Nathan Brown, Shannon Brown, come on down. Kristen Berger, Tracy Perks, Robbie Castile, Whitney Cole, Camille Connor, Kristen Davis, Rachel Flowers, Alina Robles, Vanessa Hurley, no, you gotta keep it going, guys. Heather Johnson, Allie Keys, Cheryl Colley, Tori Moss, Amanda Moment, Lisa Parker, Carrie Pennington, Marshall Colson, Sydney Ritter, Derek Sandler, Stephanie Bowman, Sheila Donald, Deborah Elliott, Michelle Allred, Kristen Braddock, Hope Cole, Charlotte Lockwood, James Ates, Robert Sherrill, Joyce Cooper, and Paula Wilson. 10 years service. Come on up. We gotta have everybody before we take a picture. Let's get everybody up here.
Marsha's hot. Short person's hot. Oh my gosh. Someone get in front.
All right, for all those veterans, this is what we used to look like. All right, congratulations. Let's get a picture. Congratulations, 10 years of service. Only 20 more to go. That was a good thing, sorry. Wow. I just popped that balloon. God, there he was. Hey, let's do 20 years of service. So let's hear it one more time. Charlie Alva, Jessica Cox, Casey Concordi, Kimberly Flynn, Michael Fedicaro, Elizabeth Freeman, Colin Furman, Alice Peter Hall, Baby Lowe, Kathy A. Robinson, Brooke Scruggs, Jacqueline Smith, Johnny Regina Davenport, Patricia Ellington, Deborah Green. Come on down, 20 years of service. Come on up. I guess I should know in 20 years I probably should have slowed down. I'm sorry. Come up inside, come on up. One more time, 20 years, everyone. Thank you, guys. Now we're going to do 30 years. And then go one name at a time. So here we go. Drew Burda. Richard Cox. Benita Finley, Tammy Kaiser, Cindy Linder, Michelle Tyndall, Kim Wartenbarger, Diane Melton, Jimmy Howard, and Rhonda Terry. Come on down, 30 years. Thank you, Miss Bray, for not telling them they can actually retire right now. I appreciate that. We need them. All right, 30 years of service right here. Thank you, Dad. All right, ladies and gentlemen, everybody on your feet for this one. I'm telling you, on your feet. Up, up. 40 years of service, Gretchen Thurman. Oh, you can't slow down, that's 40 years. Miss Jason, they want a speech. You got a couple of words to say real quick? How about both of you?
I just want to say thank you for all you do. All of us has chosen this job because we love children, whatever role we play in our school. And I hope you have a wonderful year. I'm looking forward to having one too. So thank you for everything you do.
Well, I also want to say congratulations once again. We got to see them at the beginning, the teachers of the year, supervisors of the year, all those wonderful people that have done so many great things for Cumberland County. I'm going to read through their names right now, so if you would please stand. So, employees of the year: Takitha Hubbard, Penny Edwards, Renee Kelly, Valerie Dunham, Debbie Fox. Please stand up for you all. Taylor Willis, Amy Keys, Mary Williams, Joanne Webb, Olivia Hicks, Regina Lewis, Peggy Potter, Nancy Guerin, Neil Farrell, Chris Howard, Bonnie Kilby. Thank you guys so much. That's awesome. I got a bunch of other names. Should we just read through them all? Yeah. All right. So, teachers of the year. Did I just go through those? I did not. So, these are more that. This is awesome. So, district employees of the year. We had Ann Keys and Bonnie Kilby. Teachers of the year from Brown, Lisa Parker and Kim Harris. From Travelers, Cindy Menard and Cedric Hall. From Homestead, Taylor Wallington and Sarah Cupper. From Glen Martin, Rosie Davis and Kelsey Pastor. From North Cumberland, Ellen Farrell and David Boomer Beard. From Pineview, Heather Jones and Angela Nealon. From Pleasant Hill, Alyssa Atkinson and Jerry Buckland. From South Cumberland, Tiffany Brewer and John Atkinson. From Stone Elementary, Caroline Jones and Brandon Wilson. Cumberland County High School, Megan Carter. Phoenix, Casey Robinson. Stone Memorial High School, Chris Burris. And our district pre-K4 Teacher of the Year, Miss Cindy Minyard. Our district 5A Teacher of the Year, Angela Nealon. District 9-12 Teacher of the Year, Chris Burris. Supervisor of the Year, Miss Kim Bray. District Principal of the Year, Christy Van Winkle. And District Supervisor of the Year, Dr. Farley. Well, I can't tell you how awesome today has been. Thank you so much for all you do. You are where everything gets done. From the driveway all the way to the cafeteria to the classroom. You guys have been incredibly impressive. I'm super excited for a wonderful year. Maybe I need to go back to that meme about today's afternoon PD. I don't know. We'll let principals decide. But I'm so proud to be in Cumberland County. I'm humbled by this experience. I know y'all get to go have some lunch and then you head back to your schools. So without further ado, y'all doing awesome this morning. You have a great first day, and we'll see you on the ground.